Have you guys ever wondered what's worse than getting hit by truck kun? I'll tell you, getting smacked by his grimy, loud, dumpster-scented cousin, Garbage Truck Kun. Our protagonist? A classic virgin loser who got backstabbed by his teammates inside a game. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, bam! Garbage Truck Kun enters stage left and ends his miserable run. But fate had other plans. He gets a second shot. Regression powers unlocked. This time, he's not here to make friends. He's here for revenge. And how does he plan to do it? By becoming a necromancer and soloing everything. Raids, solo, bosses, solo. That thick, manipulative villainess who ruined his life, she's on the list. If that sounds like your kind of petty, undead-fueled vengeance story, hit that like button and stick around for the full video. The title of this manhwa? Emperor of Solo Play. Comment Skelly if you want. Part 2. Enjoy. The story opened in-game, particularly in Woldberry Forest. A man was exhausted and hurt. His comrades have been badly injured as the enemy surrounds them. The leader of the enemy had been sitting comfortably on a throne. The enemy wore a blue and white knight uniform. One of them said that even with all their efforts, the person that they are waiting for still hasn't shown up. They decided to kill the last man who was still up. An executioner, a man with a helmet, topless getup, and an axe was about to do the deed. The man alive saw the axe coming. Suddenly, a silver-haired guy appeared. This person slashed the executioner before it could harm the man. The injured men were delighted to see this silver-haired guy named Jae-hyun. The men in blue and white uniform identified this silver-haired guy as Hurkan. They decided to rush at him together. The silver-haired guy glared at them. In one swift move, the silver-haired guy had cut those men down. He asked them if they really think that coming at him all at once would make a difference. He stated that those guys won't be able to beat him. This person is Hurkan. His real name is An Jae-hyun. He is affiliated with Ha-Ho Mask, and his nickname is Hero Slayer. The injured men apologized to Jae-hyun, saying that it was all because of them. They never expected an ambush. Jae-hyun asked what they were apologizing for. He extended his hand, and he told the guy that it was fine and encouraged him to get up. Those men were touched. Jae-hyun told them that it's not even their fault. He told them to blame the pathetic loser who's always lagging behind because she lacks the skills. He's pertaining to the woman on the throne. The woman commented that Jae-hyun's friendship with those injured men is touching. She asked Jae-hyun why he's acting so sentimental. She stated that even if trash bonds together, nothing will come of it. This woman is Sire. Her real name is Chai Seolyeon. She is affiliated with Thunder Hunters and has the nickname of Queen of Thunder. Jae-hyun scoffed. Then he pointed out that Seolyeon clenches her teeth and charges in every time she gets destroyed by whom she called trash. Seolyeon warned him to watch his mouth and not to regret it and cry later. Jae-hyun touched his watch. Then he uttered, "Slot on." An eye mask and sword materialized. He also had a black and gold armor on. All of his equipment changed into looking more powerful. He then uttered, "Regret? Ha! That's something only weaklings like you feel." Seolyeon got annoyed with this arrogant bastard. She ordered her men to kill him. Jae-hyun told her that she never learns. He's confident that she can't kill him. But as soon as he said those words, a sword pierced right through his chest. Jae-hyun was confused. The men he just saved had stabbed him in the back. System informed him that his HP is rapidly decreasing. His movement was restricted. He fell face flat on the ground. He asked what was the meaning of it. The man apologized for deceiving him. The man reasoned that they have to make a living. He hoped that Jae-hyun wouldn't hate them for doing that. Jae-hyun was shocked. Seolyeon then started to laugh at Jae-hyun. She called him stooped to get all caught up in the little friendship fantasy. She stated that it doesn't matter in front of money. She called Hurkan and told him that she would remove him from the game, and that if she kills him that way every time he logs in, he won't be able to make progress. She knew that he's also a full-time warlord gamer, that he's a worthless piece of trash with nothing going for him but the game. She told him that it's too bad for him, because he's back to being trash again. Jae-hyun's hand scratches the dirt in anger. Then he got up and attacked Seolyeon. Blood splattered. Jae-hyun was surprised. Seolyeon simply uttered, "Oh my." All 5 men that he saved stabbed him all at the same time. Seolyeon thanked those men. Jae-hyun asked them why when they knew how much he has for the guild. The leader of the men told him to just die already. He reasoned that they offered them hundreds of millions just to kill him. Jae-hyun couldn't believe that they'd do it just because of money. He had done so much for them. Those men even said that they're family. He felt angry. With that, red notification windows flooded his screen. The system warned him that he had died, and as a penalty, he can't log in for 48 hours. Then, our boy woke up. Jae-hyun got up from the capsule. He was in agony from losing everything. The game that he was playing just now is called Warlord. It is a game that became a massive global hit. It is based on AI-driven virtual reality that earns unimaginable amounts of money, and in that world was the only thing Jae-hyun is ever good at. In real life, he was always called trash. Back then, the leader of the men who betrayed him told him that he's amazing at that game. That man got curious on what level Jae-hyun is. Then that man invited Jae-hyun to join his guild. Jae-hyun felt that the only place he belonged was in that game. That was the case. So now, he was in rage. Jae-hyun decided not to forgive them. He grabbed his coat and ran to the streets. His plan is to find them all and kill them. He questioned the reason why he had to go through those hardships just so those bastards can live a good life. He called Dong-soo. Little did he know the red light for pedestrians was on. The cars continued to pass by. Jae-hyun thought that if he only knew that things would turn out like that. The light of the car flashes at him as it approaches. He regretted caring about anyone else from the beginning. The truck was getting dangerously close to Jae-hyun. Then blood was spilled. Jae-hyun got hit and was laying on the pavement. His phone notified him that the number he dialed is unavailable. Ironically, Jae-hyun was hit by a garbage truck. He didn't want to die yet. He thought of the traitorous bastard, and Seol Yeon, the bastard who screwed him over. He wanted to take revenge on all of them, brutally. Then, he lost consciousness. Suddenly, a light appeared. A loading icon had appeared. User verification was in progress. Hirkin was welcomed in the game. He opened his eyes. He has to finish the tutorial, which is to survive against the labyrinth's master Minotaur. He was confused if he's really a warlord. He's confused as to why he's getting tutorial quests. Someone called him and told him to stop spacing out and pull himself together. They reminded him of the notification, to take down that Minotaur. The Minotaur growled loudly. The two men saw corpses. Including Hirkan? The three of them will have to take it down together. Hirkan was confused because he knew that the Minotaur was removed 5 years ago because of the difficulty issues. The man who heard him was confused. Then he informed him that Warlord was released only 10 months ago. That came as a surprise to Hirkan. The two men find him odd. They told him to tank for a bit when they gave him the signal, but Hirkan just stood up and picked up a sword. They asked him where he's going. Then to their surprise, Hirkan started running towards the Minotaur. They asked if he's insane. They thought he's going to die. Hirkan was focused on the Minotaur. And then, our boy just performed multiple and accurate slashes that cut down the monster. The Minotaur fell. The two guys were surprised that he was able to take down the monster in one blow. The two guys exchanged glances at each other. Then they called him. Then they told Hirkan that he has talent. They invited him to their guild. That reminded Hirkan of his experience with the traitorous bastard. Hirkan glared at them. Hirkan informed them that he just made a decision. The two guys were looking hopeful, but suddenly Hirkan slashed them. Blood had splattered. Hirkan uttered that if he trusts people again in that life, he would be comparable to a dog. With this, the hero slaughterer, Hirkan, has regressed. After that, Jae-hyun got up from the VR capsule. He was surprised to see where he was. This guy had been playing in a freaking VR store. He remembered that he was broke 5 years ago, so he used to play games on the showroom devices in the stores. It made him think if he had actually regressed. Upon realizing that, he was in a hurry since he got things to do. He ran as fast as he could. He wanted to take advantage of his 5 years' worth of future information and experience. And if he uses it, he was certain to get his revenge. He headed to the cashier and brought out his credit card. He immediately bought the base mode V gear. The salesperson accepted his card. Our MC was planning on what to do when he didn't immediately hear the salesperson calling him. He was informed that he doesn't have enough funds. This broke-ass boy was dumbfounded. He can only curse. He realized that if he had the money for it, he would have bought one already. Otherwise, he wouldn't be gaming in the store. He wondered what he should do. He thought that earning money at that moment would be too late. Then he heard a voice. Suri's advertisement was being played on the screen. She was ranked #1 as a warlord model. She's inviting people through the ads to be a warlord. Jae-hyun watched the ad. He remembered something that was still fresh in his memory. Sure tells him that he's back to being trash again. With that, Jae-hyun was reminded that it's not the time to wait around. At dusk, the brand new V-gear was placed. The installation was complete and Jae-hyun can start using it immediately. The quickest way for him to get the money was to go to a lending company. Apparently, he borrowed 10 million won. He was about to get the ticket from the table when the man took something from his coat's pocket. It was a knife, and he stabbed the table between Jae-hyun's fingers. Jae-hyun was threatened that if he can't pay them back, his life is going to become hell. Jae-hyun was scared, but did it anyway. He was willing to fall into hellfire and risk everything again, if it meant that he could get his revenge at those bastards. He connected inside the VR gear. Identifying the user started. Then it was confirmed. Hurkan was welcomed to Warlord. Hurkan expected someone to arrive soon. Before he could remember the woman's name, he was being congratulated on clearing the tutorial. A gold-haired woman with a halo and spider legs on her back appeared. She introduced herself as Ariadne, and her task is to help Hurkan in his career. She was the one that Hurkan was expecting. She extended her hand to the adventurer and told him to choose among the basic classes. There are 3 basic classes, and the skills that Hurkan used to level up there will determine the specific class that he will be in. The warrior class fights in the front with melee weapons. Ariadne recommends it if Hurkan wants some exciting action. Hurkan thought about it. He was certain that he could level up quickly because he had already done it in the past, but it gets harder to play solo as he proceeds. He told Ariadne that he'd pass on that. Ariadne told him about the cleric. With this class, he can use the power of healing to buff and heal others. It was an auto-pass for Hurkan. He expressed that he didn't want to be looking after others' access. That leaves only one option left. Ariadne wishes him to have an entertaining adventure. She opened her hand, and something started shining from it. She gave him a golden glow that wraps around his body. Hurkan was informed that he had chosen the basic class. He was immediately transported to the corresponding class tower. An old man welcomed Hurkan inside the tower. The old man introduced himself as Golko, the guide to the path of magic. He is a magic class NPC. The old man asked Hurkan on which type of magic he wishes to learn. Hurkan immediately answered that he wants dark magic. Golko was confused. Hurkan was confused that he's silent. Golko assumed that Hurkan wanted earth magic. He tried to say that his hearing wasn't good because of his age. Hurkan corrected him, saying that he wants dark magic. Golko panicked. He inquired as to where Hurkan heard about it. He stated that dark magic is powerful, but it brings the user's soul to ruin. Hurkan replied that he's aware. Hurkan clearly stated that he knows the risk and still wants to learn it. He was insistent that it should be dark magic. Golko couldn't believe it. He removed his skin and revealed a creepy skull. His appearance completely changed. He uttered that it has been a while since a brat chose that path. He told Hurkan that if he's ready, he should place his hand on the skill book. He reminded Hurkan to choose wisely. He was trying to inform Hurkan that it's a difficult path, but Hurkan didn't even let him finish. He placed his hand on the skill book. He confidently stated, "Let's move this along. Sorry, but I'm not one of those punks." Golko laughed out loud. He was amused. While Hurkan was being enveloped by the dark aura coming from the book, Golko commented, "What an interesting one. It's been so long." There was a famous video in Jae-hyun's past life. It was about a single necromancer who took down the boss, all alone. And Jae-hyun believes that it's the power that he needed. Few moments later, he was notified that he had been a necromancer. His title is Necromancer Initiate, and he had learned the skill Skeleton Fragment. He activated the skill, and a small skull came out of his hand. He dropped it on the ground, and the skull started reacting to something. Hurkan was informed that a skeleton warrior consumes mana to take form. In that life, he chose to be a necromancer. The small skull had formed to become a human skeleton. This officially marks the start of another necromancer MC. Hurkan was then eager to level up. But before he could look for a dungeon, the skull fell and rolled on the floor. Awkward silence filled the room. All Hurkan could say was, "Huh?" Few minutes later, a portal appeared. Hurkan exited through it. He was sighing. He had just entered the training dungeon. He was confused as to what's going on because it doesn't feel like the laid-back kind of skeleton that he used to see in his previous life. He checked the skill window. It showed the status of the skeleton fragment. The proficiency is F. Hirkan only has one summonable skeleton warrior. This skill allows the user to create a skeleton fragment. When magic is infused into the created skeleton fragment, the user may command a skeleton minion. Hirkan pondered if the reason was the low proficiency. It made him think that he needs to level up quickly. He heard a growling sound. It came at the right time. Those were coming from a coal wolf. They are the monsters used in training. Hirkan knew that coal wolves aren't strong, but they're quick, which makes them perfect for performance testing. He took out the skeleton fragment. He commanded it to go forth. The ball of blue flame shone brightly. Then it turned into a skeleton. The skeleton warrior detects the enemy and enters a combat stance. It growled loudly like it was ready to fight. Hirkan ordered the skeleton warrior to kill those coal wolves. The skeleton warrior focused on it. The coal wolves charged. Hirkan noticed that the skeleton warrior performs better than expected. At that rate, he expects to reach max level in no time. But in the next moment, the skeleton warrior broke into pieces. Hirkan was dumbfounded. What the fuck? The skull rolled to his feet. The skull looked like it's in tears. Skeleton warrior was somewhat embarrassed by what just happened. Hirkan made an ugly, surprised, and disgusted expression. He knew something was off. He immediately checked the skill window. He scrolled through it and saw the note about the creature being equipped with a deep learning system and learning from combat. The user should set a default mode. The options are defense mode, attack mode, and special action mode. Hirkan was relieved that the reason why is because he didn't set a mode. He chose defense mode, and the skeleton warrior's eyes glowed. But it was funny because the wolves are already having fun chewing the bones. You're just a second too late. Then, Hirkan tried the special action mode. Then, the skeleton warrior had begun dancing wildly. Seeing this, it was really worth it to be in the special action mode. Even the wolves started dancing. Hirkan realized that he's fucked. The voice of Golko was heard along the way, that he tried to stop Hirkan from doing this. All our MC could do was sigh and express that he's going to go crazy. He was notified that his character can't be deleted since his account is less than 3 months old. At this point, Hirkan couldn't delete his character, nor can he change classes, and loan payments start next month. He thought of getting hit by a car again. At this point, the coal wolves were defeated. The skeleton behind him was in a combat stance. Hirkan wondered why doesn't anything go right for him. Just when he thought things were finally looking up, he complains that the dumb bonehead isn't even any help. He let out a loud sigh. He told the skeleton to stay still because it's driving him nuts. It made him wonder how the necromancer that he saw in his previous life handles guys like this. Then he saw it. A crucial piece of information that could change everything. It was stated that the creature is equipped with a deep learning system and learns from combat. He realized that when he killed those coal wolves, it was watching him and learning from him. At this point, he saw the skeleton warrior being able to copy his combat stance. It made him grin. Hirkan then gave the skeleton a stick. He told the skeleton that it's lucky to have a master like him. He stated that even if he doesn't look like it, people called him genius. He boasted that he even coached all his guild's members into becoming top rankers. He told the skeleton to remember one thing in combat, that if it doesn't dodge, it's dead. Hirkan was about to punch the skeleton. It landed, and the skeleton was down on the ground. He told the skeleton that they will do it again and again. It was repeated again, and the skeleton kept getting hit. It kept crashing on the wall. Hirkan scolded it that if it got hit, it should not just stand like an idiot, but to think of a follow-up. He told the skeleton to look for an opening after it dodges, then strike back. He asked the skeleton if it understands. The skeleton answered with its determined expression and was in a combat stance. Then it faced the coal wolves again, and this time the skeleton warrior was able to dodge. It even counterattacked. Then it hit the next wolf. The 3 wolves lost to it. The skeleton looked to Hirkan with expectant eyes. Hirkan asked what it was looking at. He reminded the skeleton not to get distracted during battle. Hirkan stated that its last move wasn't bad. Hirkan was notified that the proficiency of skeleton fragments is increasing. A bright yellow glow surrounded them like they just gained experience from the fight. Hirkan told the skeleton that it passed. Hirkan was notified by the system that his level has increased. After that, at the beginner village Figus Castle, the streets were crowded. It was also noisy because people were advertising their guild. Hirkan was thinking that the skeleton was actually worth teaching. and with a few more days of grinding, he will be able to solo the whole training dungeon. But he knew that the real challenge starts. He needs to reach level 10. Someone called Hirkan, and it interrupted his thoughts. The person was angry that Hirkan bumped into his shoulders. Hirkan judges that those men looked like third-rate thugs. Hirkan was getting annoyed. His time was precious to him, but he was being grabbed by the collar. He wondered if he should just kill them. The man was about to punch him. Surprisingly, a blond man in a Hawaiian shirt stopped the fist. He told the man that he shouldn't go around hitting people. The thug asked who he was and if he's with the guy that bumped into him. But instead of being relieved, Hirkan had this uneasy expression as he recognized the blond man. Hirkan saw the muscles and the weird fashion sense. It made him certain. That guy is Mathador Shev. He was a top-ranked warrior in his previous life. Hirkan wondered what he's doing there. He was about to talk to him when someone screamed. The man in front spit. Then he threatened Mathador Shev to stay out of it when he didn't even know the guy. The man claims that Hirkan hit him first. He argues with the saying, "An eye for an eye." Mathador Shev gave a small laugh. Then he released his aura. He tried being nice, but nobody really was pushing it. This fucker had his snot hanging while trying to maintain standing. Our boy also felt the pressure. It was really an incredible amount of aura. Then Mathador Shev claimed that the guy hit his palm with his fist, so he should do the same. The man got scared. Then he was informed of who the guy was. Apparently, Mathador Shev is the guild master of Red Bulls, one of the top 30 guilds. Additionally, he's known for how much he loves to fight. He's well known as Mathador Killer Shev. The arrogant man earlier wondered as to why would someone like that be there. Mathador Shev grabbed the arrogant man's arm and asked him for his response. The man turned pale. He knew he fucked up. He apologized and ran away. Mathador Shev was glad to have resolved it using words. Then he asked Hirkan if he's all right. He told him not to mind guys like that. Hirkan brushed his hand off his shoulder. Mathador Shev didn't expect that. Then Hirkan told him that he doesn't need to help him from then on. Hirkan walked away. That left Mathador Shev confused. Mathador Shev commented that he's such a cold guy. Meanwhile, Hirkan was pissed off, because at that moment he was intimidated by his power. He vowed that the next time they meet, he'll be a completely different person. This was really edgy. In a different setting, the torch lit up the area. It was like a cave. Hirkan kept thinking about the gap between his power and Mathador Shev. He's aware that Shiru and Shev are on similar skill levels. In order to get revenge, Hirkan knew he needed to become stronger. A monster appeared behind Hirkan when he was in deep thought, but the skeleton easily took care of the monster. Hirkan didn't even have to move. The skeleton brought down the monster. The notification system appeared to notify that the skeleton warrior had hunted the coal tiger. It leveled up. It looked Hirkan expectantly, as if wanting to be praised. Hirkan uttered those 3 days to reach level 10. It's longer than he expected. The skeleton got sad when it didn't receive any recognition. The system notified Hirkan that he had reached level 10. He was informed that there were no longer monsters in the training dungeon. Hirkan's beginner symbol has been removed. Rewards are being transferred. Hirkan received a war watch, along with stats, quests, map, inventory, as well as the messenger. They are all features set up in the game. He hasn't felt that in a while. He excitedly checked the status window. It revealed his status. He's a level 10 necromancer with 1 title. His strength and stamina is 3, while his intelligence and mana is 5. Just as he expected, his stats have been renewed. He was prompted to spend his stat points. His remaining SP is strength and stamina is 3, while his intelligence and mana are 5. Since it was his first time spending his stat points, Hirkan was careful and wise. He knew that a necromancer would usually raise mana or intelligence. However, Hirkan decided to put all points into strength. His strength has increased by 50. His total strength is 53. Our MC immediately felt the increase in his power. Meanwhile, the skeleton warrior looked horrified. It was sniffling. Hirkan asked what it's doing. Hirkan bonked it and told the skeleton warrior that he hasn't given up being a necromancer. He clarified that he's trying to teach him. Hirkan explained that even if he raises his mana and intelligence, it won't have a big impact on his play. In contrast, if he can raise his strength, he can teach the skeleton warrior all his skills from when he was at his strongest. In short, he's betting his life on the skeleton warrior's growth. Skeleton warrior looked touched. Hirkan reminded it to focus on its training. After all, there are other ways to compensate for the lacking stats. At Raiders Association, Figus Castle Branch, someone yelled that there's a fresh new quest. The players raced to get it. Hirkan knew that quests around that time weren't good, so everyone's so enthusiastic. Hirkan approached the old man on the counter and told him that he wanted a quest too. He requested to see the list. The old man replied that the ones in there are difficult tasks and no one really wants them. The old man assumed that Hirkan was confident. In Hirkan's head, he's expecting it all to be crappy. But he smiled. Perks of regressing, I guess. He had a hidden card. He found what he's looking for. At Bhima Mountain's cave. The task is to eliminate all monsters near the Bhima Mountain. The reward is 10 gold. The old man asked Hirkan if he's certain about it since it's a low-level quest that's only worth 10 gold. Hirkan replied, yes. He received the quest. Hirkan was thinking that if he clears the boring-looking quest before hitting level 15, he can get a super rare title called Prospect. It was good, because earning a title raises stats, and the Prospect title, in particular, raises stats by percentage. In other words, it will kickstart Hirkan's OP career. He was ready to set off. But before all that, our boy wanted to start fixing all of his equipment first. A few hours later, at Bhima Mountain. Hirkan looked serious. It was because this fucker was in bunny ear outfit with pink pants, green belt, and monster feet. Despite his attempt to look cool, he looked weird. Even crows were not even intimidated by him. And he knew that. He cursed in his head. Apparently, our boy didn't have enough money after getting the skeleton's equipment, so he just got what he could only to end up looking like that. To end this, he decided to speedrun the quest and get clothes first. He ran while thinking of finishing the quest as fast as he could. The forest was quiet, until a bloody hand appeared from the bushes. The man asked for help. He kept begging. But instead of getting healed, he was dragged into the bushes again to hide his body. And there they were, the evil men that preys on newbies. Classic. Few hours ago, someone in the forest was excited. This person named Multi was looking forward to his adventure at Bhima Mountain. He's under the impression that he's good at the game. He even sees himself as a ranker. Suddenly, someone yelled for help. The guy screams for help, since his friend was hurt. Multi rushed towards them and asked what the problem was. The guy explained that they were attacked by a monster which they have never seen before. They could barely escape and they don't have any healing potions. Multi told them that he has few of them. The guy thanked him and promised to repay him. Little did he know, the payment was nothing Multi expected. A guy appeared behind him and was about to smash his head. Then, blood gushed out. Multi was shocked. The guy that was crying earlier thanked him and told him that they will make sure to use the items to its fullest. Multi realized he was tricked. He called them cowardly. The guy called him out for saying mean things, and the guy blamed Multi for being an idiot and falling for such a trick. With a final stab on the back, the player Multi has died. Player's watch was dropped. The bad guys commented that messing around with newbies is fun. They made fun of Multi's reaction. They are off to find their next prey. This team is called Ralph Family, a villain PK guild. Back to the present time, some wolves faced our favorite skeleton warrior. Those wolves rushed towards the skeleton. Hirkan flicked his finger and chose attack mode. As if something clicked, the skeleton warrior charges forward. It mercilessly slashed the wolves. Several notifications appeared that the skeleton warrior had hunted an ancient tree wolf. It gained some experience. Hirkan saw that now that the skeleton warrior has a sword, a pack of wolves means nothing to it. He was glad to pick the equipment for the skeleton first. He justifies that a true gamer cares about utility more than looks, but the truth is, you're just broke my guy. It was funny because the skeleton warrior felt bad for his owner for looking that way. That slightly annoyed Hirkan. He told the skeleton warrior that if it was done, it should follow him. They had to level up quickly so they could clear the area. Skeleton warrior follows him. A light had shone above them. Then, it struck the skull of a skeleton warrior. Hirkan saw the arrow. It was evident how the skeleton warrior was shocked. Then someone showed up and apologized. The man claims that the skeleton warrior looks like a monster from far away. He apologized again. Hirkan replied that it was okay. Then he noticed something. He saw the bloodied clothing and gear, plus the several war watches that the guy wore. Hirkan had this cold look on his eyes as he realized exactly what these guys were. But he shrugged it off and told them that he forgives them if they compensate him with a mana potion. Skeleton warrior was annoyed. It broke the arrow in half. The guy said that they don't have potions. Then the guy suggested to help Hurkan with leveling up since he will automatically have his mana replenished by then. Hurkan asked if that's okay. The guy replied, yes. He acted like they're really sorry, that's why they're doing that. The monsters appeared right on time. The Ralph family told Hurkan that they would weaken the monsters and Hurkan could finish them off. But the Ralph family has a different plan. First, after taking the monsters' aggro, the mage will cast an attack buff on them and send one in Hurkan's direction while acting like he made a mistake. They expected the flustered bastard to die right away. These fuckers had these evil smile on their faces while waiting for that unfortunate event to happen. But their jaws dropped. They saw that Hurkan defeated the wolf. Our MC even scolded the skeleton warrior for being too slow on killing the monster. Hurkan told them that they are doing great, so the Ralph family can continue. Those three wondered how Hurkan's summon was so strong. It made them think that Hurkan's level is higher than it looks. They decided to send multiple monsters in Hurkan's way, and once he's distracted, they will take him down. The big guy from the Ralph family tries to smash Hurkan's head from behind, but he was taken aback when Hurkan had dodged it. Our boy knew this from the start. Hurkan slashed the guy. The remaining members of the Ralph family were surprised. Hurkan called the skeleton. It became vicious. Then Hurkan and the skeleton attacked at the same time. The Ralph family panicked. They knew they fucked up. In an instant, they were slashed. Skeleton Warrior really is improving and copied its master's movements. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Hurkan told them that he knew about those kinds of bastards very well. The kind who backstabs people who trust them and take all they have. Hurkan admitted that if it was his old self, then their tactic would have worked. The guy apologized and negotiated that he'll give items instead. Hurkan replied, nope, I don't trust people anymore. Then he slashed the person. The player Ralph has died and a whopping 8 ownerless watches have dropped. Upon seeing the quantity, Hurkan couldn't help but comment how crazy the bastard is. But since it turned out that way, he plans to make good use of it, starting with his clothes. Meanwhile, Skeleton kept kicking the big guy on his injury. Blood splattered everywhere. Skeleton looked scary with the blood on it. It compelled Hurkan to offer the skeleton something for itself. Hurkan gave something to the skeleton and started reacting towards the cracked skull of our boy warrior. Few seconds later, its eyes lit up. It raised its sword and stood in confidence, fully healed and ready to fight again. Skeleton looked really happy. Hurkan noticed that it likes its gear so much. Hurkan lectured that appearance isn't important when playing the game, and what's important is the inside. Hurkan doesn't look credible when he's posing with his new look. I would too, if I am equipped with bunny clothes. Hurkan said the war watches from those bastards were total jackpots. By selling another player's war watch, a random item from their inventory will be dropped. Anything from rare items with options, like the Black Goblin Pants, a rare item that increases +5 to mana and intelligence. There's also the sword with the essence of an ancient tree, a rare item that increases +10 to mana. There's also a skill book like Demon's Curse, and even money. Hurkan rejoiced at having received a jackpot, and thanks to that, he was able to make something, and he had it quicker than expected. It was a mask. Hurkan is going to be recording his gameplay from then on, and creating a good identity for that purpose is important. He recalled a memory that someone told him that identity isn't important. Upon remembering that, Hurkan felt bad. He was talking to a guy about wearing a Ha-Ho mask, because it will make them go viral. It made the guy named their guild Ha-Ho Mask. Hurkan even thought about going with a completely different identity. However, he didn't want other people to steal his things anymore. Because of betrayal, he changed the color of his mask to a darker one. He planned to use that to prove he was right. Our boy then wore his much more sinister mask and left with the skeleton warrior. Still in the Bima Mountain, they found a portal. They entered it and arrived at the Bima Mountain cave dungeon. Hurkan has knowledge that blue werewolves appear in that cave dungeon. It's not an easy dungeon, but since he had better equipment now, he finds it doable. Hurkan is aiming for a 10-minute run. Hurkan, along with a skeleton, charges in. A few hours later, Hurkan was in confusion because there weren't any monsters. He finds it crazy. He expected a message if someone already cleared the dungeon. He assumed that it's a bug. He got annoyed at Skeleton's weird actions. Skeleton was slashing the wall. Then he realized something. He inspected the wall. Then, a large portal appeared. It was also emitting a dark aura around it. Hurkan just discovered the instant dungeon, the stage. He had the option to enter. Now, he knew why there weren't any monsters. Instant dungeons are one-time dungeons that spawn randomly in other dungeons. When they appear, the normal dungeons become inactive until the instant dungeon is cleared. They're more difficult compared to normal dungeons, but they also give better rewards. The problem is either they clear the dungeon or die in there. If Hurkan is being rational, he knew that he should give that up because he won't be able to play for 2 days if he dies. He knew that it would be better for him to give it up and do other quests instead. But they had entered the stage, and he just needs to clear it. Upon entering, he was blinded by a light. He arrived in an arena. He felt that the Colosseum is kind of scary. He wondered what's going to come out. He heard a loud roar, and a large bipedal wolf-like monster appeared. It's a corrupted werewolf with unknown levels. Hurkan didn't expect to be corrupted in a place like that. It attacked them. Hurkan groaned in pain. Skeleton Warrior saw that Hurkan was no longer beside it. It angered Skeleton. Hurkan let out a small laugh, then it laughed out loud. It caught the skeleton's attention. Hurkan finds himself lucky. Corrupted monsters are related to the main quest. He told Skeleton that if they don't kill it, there will be no dinner. Hurkan charges at the monster. Skeleton Warrior assumed combat stance. Hurkan leverages on Skeleton's sword to jump higher. He attacked from above. The monster noticed him. He inflicted a curse. Hurkan's hand glowed and released a dark aura. He used the demon's curse skill and enveloped his sword with it. The monster was caught off guard, and in one swift move, Hurkan slashed it. The wolf didn't even realize that its arm was already cut off. Hurkan had a superhero landing after performing the attack. The demon's curse was activated. The stats of the target were reduced by 10%. Hurkan commented that the skill wasn't so bad, even though it's his first time using it. That angered the corrupted monster. It growled loudly while charging in. The system notified Hurkan that the corrupted werewolf is enraged. All status effects are nullified. Hurkan commented that it wouldn't be an instant dungeon if it was that easy. He was saving a technique for later, but he decided to try it at that moment. He stated, "Slot on," while holding his watch like some Power Rangers, trying to transform. His body glowed. The light envelopes him until it gave a blinding spark. Hurkan then stepped out. He now has his armor on and was ready to get on with the fight. Slot on is one of the Warlord's unique features. When a player uses Slot on, they are temporarily empowered with strength, drawn from the world of Warlord. It manifests a boosted form. That form varies greatly from player to player, so it's safe to say that it will be your unique identity inside the game, which is why most users often call it the so-called ultimate mode. And right now, our boy's ultimate form looked like a Grim Reaper, fitting to his class as a necromancer. The corrupted werewolf roared loudly. It runs towards Hurkan. It tried to slash Hurkan using its claws, but Hurkan evaded it. It continuously attacked, but Hurkan dodged all of it. Hurkan landed on his knees. The monster attacked him, but he was able to evade it quickly. He admitted that the boss monster's power, speed, everything was overwhelming. Hurkan knew that if it lands 4 hits, or even at least 3, it would be the end of him. It charges forward again, but Hurkan just grinned. He released a powerful counterattack and slashed the shit out of the corrupted wolf. It sliced the monster's torso. Hurkan commented that it's what makes the game fun. But then, he was taken aback when the monster released an attack that made the ground shatter. Hurkan remembered that the monster was in an enraged state. Hurkan looked like he was having fun. He called the monster and reminded it that it's forgetting something. Our boy Skeleton Warrior charges in. Skeleton slashes it. And just like its master, it was able to cut one of the monster's arms. Then Hurkan told the skeleton that they will do the move that they practiced. Skeleton nodded. The monster was overwhelmed. Skeleton and Hurkan attacked it at the same time, leaving several slashes on the monster. It was heavily injured until the notification appeared that Hurkan had hunted it. Slot On was deactivated afterwards. Hurkan thought that it wasn't that bad, considering it was their first time trying those moves. Few moments later, a card appeared. It showed that their quest to subjugate the monsters around the cave of Bima Mountain is done. The skeleton warrior has defeated a very powerful monster. Hurricane's skeleton fragment skill has risen to rank E. He also earned 20,856 gold, a werewolf skull, and a werewolf hide. Hurricane commented that the instance rewards were really juicy. Skeleton celebrated with a dance. Hurricane also obtained Necklace of the Corrupted Tracker. It increases class-related stats by plus 18. It is also an untradeable, bound item. Hurricane got a new title, Corrupted Tracker. Hurricane was surprised to find that it's a chronicle unique, even though it's untradeable, a higher tier than standard unique items. Then he saw the title. The system informed him that 3 new titles have been registered. One is Promising Rook, which increases intelligence and magic by 3%. Initially, that was what Hurricane was aiming for. He also got the Challenger of Heroes, which increases stamina by plus 3. Hurricane learned that the Hero series also showed up there too. But thinking about it, it made sense since he cleared the instance dungeon alone. Then the last title is the Corrupted Tracker. He was surprised to see it because it is the intro title for the first chapter for the main quest, Count Corruption. The main quest is the core storyline that forms the backbone of Warlord's universe. Because the rewards are extraordinary, every player wants to get involved somehow. It's Warlord's flagship content. In Hurricane's previous life, he barely got into the 4th chapter, and yet now, he already unlocked it. It made him think that it isn't just luck. He knew he hit the jackpot. He immediately logs out. It was dusk. Jahan watches a live breaking news. Someone on the screen announced that the Hydra Guild is officially entering the final chapter of the Count Corruption scenario. Their goal is to complete it within 3 months. Jahan paused the video. He thought about it and realized that he was wrong for seeing it as a jackpot. Someone's already at the final chapter of Count Corruption, so if he jumps in now, he won't get anything. He sees it as a waste. He thought about giving up this round and aiming for the next chapter. Then he thought of something, that maybe it's actually an opportunity for him, because the whole world is focused on Count Corruption with massive interest. It's the first main quest of the Warlord, and it's on the verge of being cleared. He thought about what would happen if a video related to the Count Corruption gets released at that moment. The views would be insane. The money got Jahan excited. He was glad that he recorded his gameplay. He plans to edit it and upload it straight to WTube. He knew that editing is key, so he can't just have anyone do it. He has one person in mind, the one who was called the god of editing in his past life. And that said person immediately received his message, the filmmaker Romani. She received the request about the video editing for Hurricane. She doubted as to what great video is a level 15 gonna make from clearing a dungeon. She judged that it was some rich newbie trying to show off on social media. But when she watched the video, it got her on her feet. She claimed that she found it. She's pertaining to her muse. Romani is a freelance video editor. Her nickname is Hellmouth. It was nighttime. A rich lady in her hotel suite was addressed as an executive. Her subordinate hurriedly answers her summon. She uttered that a video related to the Count Corruption just went up. She showed it to her subordinate while saying that it was interesting, especially coming from a level 15 who soloed a corrupted werewolf. The subordinate replied that their team checked it too. He didn't think much of it, since the corrupted werewolf's level is low. The woman replied that she likes it, and she wants that. She wants him to bring it to her. This woman is Che Seolian. She is the #1 in the business world rankings, and also the Thunder Group's successor. Her warlord nickname is Queen of Thunder, Suri, the very same person that messed up our MC in his previous life. Outside the game, Jaehyun checked his phone. It surprised him that his video received so many views when he just uploaded it yesterday. It had reached 6,000 views. It took him a couple of months to get to that many views in his previous life. He noticed that another thing had changed. Romani reached out to him first. Normally, she doesn't reach out to people first because she's supposed to be a mysterious character. At this point, our MC didn't know that Romani is a girl, that's why he's still addressing her as a guy. Romani sent Jahan a sticker rose, and it made Jahan want to block him. They continued chatting. Romani asked when she could get the next video. Jahan wonders the same thing. He doesn't know what he should do for his next video, and he knew that there's no way he's going to find a monster like that corrupted wolf again. It made him think about what he should do. He knew that he needed to strike the iron while it shot. He entered the game. Meanwhile, someone was watching the video of Hurricane of Haho Mask. It was Mathador Chev. He was impressed with Hirkan's movements, regardless of how many times he watched. Mathador Chev feels that Hirkan is familiar. Someone asked him who? It was a gorgeous woman with red hair. Her name is Yell. Mathador Chev stated that he's talking about Hirkan from Haho Mask. He shared that the guy has been a hot topic recently. Yell replied that it would be strange if that guy didn't look familiar when Mathador Chev watches him so much. Mathador Chev realizes that she's right. But Mathador Chev passionately expressed that the game makes it feel like they're moving in real life, so a newbie would be timid with their movements. But that is not the case for Hirkan. He was also impressed with how Hirkan trained his summon. It was on a different level compared to the other necromancers. Mathador Chev was like a fan on how passionately talked about Hirkan. He wondered if Hirkan would accept duel requests. Yell told him to stop, and advised him to get back inside if he's just going to blabber about useless topics. They're going live in 5 minutes. Mathador Chev winked at Yell and told her that he always appreciates her. Yell told him to do good on the live stream. That was because over 200,000 people bought live tickets, just so they could see Mathador Chev in action, the leader of the Red Bulls, also known as man ranked 9th in Warlord. He was notified that a dungeon gate would be opening soon. The countdown had started. Mathador Chev waited. Then he smirked and called all his members. And he yelled, "Prepare for battle!" inside the game, at the Raiders Association, Figus Castle branch. Hirkan looked like a zombie as he uttered that what he's looking for isn't there. He slammed the table as he found out that there were no quests. He expected it to some degree, but he couldn't believe that there could really be 0 good quests. He decided to put a hold on making more videos for now. Then, a man approached him and recognized him as the adventurer who cleared the cave of Bhima Mountain Dungeon. Hirkan recognized him. It was the guy from before. The guy introduced himself as Hotan, and he asked Hirkan to talk. He expressed that he heard all about it, that Hirkan found a mutant in the cave of Bhima. Hirkan doesn't remember there being a quest. Hirkan replied that he saw werewolves with strange eyes. Hotan expected that. He told Hirkan that there's a high chance that he encountered a monster that has been exposed to the power of the Corrupt One. He admitted that they haven't figured out exactly who they are, but he's certain that their power is causing monsters to go on a rampage and that many have fallen victim to them. That's why the Raiders Association put a bounty on them. Hirkan grabbed the hand of Hotan, and he expressed his interest in assisting in capturing the evil bastard. Hotan was confused. Hirkan knew it was a hidden quest. Hotan replied that it's too early for Hirkan, but Hirkan insisted that he will be fine. Hirkan was assertive, to the point that Hotan gave in. Hotan informed Hirkan that he will give him a chance based on how well he will do. He told him that there's a person named Ahimbri at Bangsu Castle, which is east of Figus Castle. That caught the attention of our MC. Apparently that guy will be able to teach Hirkan. He planned to give Hirkan a recommendation letter. He received the teaching of Ahimbri. His task is to find Ahimbri and show him Hotan's letter of recommendation. The reward is a skill book. Hirkan trembled. When he was outside, he celebrated. He caught the attention of the passerby. He couldn't believe he got a quest to become Ahimbri's student. One of the 7 disciples of the great mage Bokan is the NPC Ahimbri. All the mages want to meet him because he provides the most rare skill books. In other words, he's a very important NPC. Hirkan speculated that he got the opportunity because his Rising Star title overlapped with the Corrupted Count main quest, and if he does it well, he won't ever have to worry about video materials from then on. But then he thought of something, that there was something he had to take care of before he did that. At the forest, Hirkan stood there. He used a skeleton fragment. The skull came out. Skeleton Warrior was summoned once again, and Hirkan stated that he hasn't taken a look at his rewards from the last battle. He planned to use the werewolf's skull that he didn't sell off. The system asked him if he would like to use a werewolf's skull to strengthen the Skeleton Warrior. A skull covered the skull. The system notified that the Skeleton Warrior has gained the traits of a werewolf's toughness +2. Hirkan also equipped the necklace of the Corrupted Tracker. The effects of the necklace of the Corrupted Tracker had been applied to Hirkan, so he gained +18 on all his stats. All class-related stats have been increased. Now, Hirkan was done with the prep work. He used 2 more skeleton fragments and threw it on the ground. Both released a bright light, until it formed 2 new skeleton warriors. The first skeleton warrior was in disbelief and confusion. Haircan informed the skeleton warriors that the three of them will fight as a unit, so they had to get along with each other. The skeleton warrior No.1 was utterly surprised. The first skeleton warrior looked like he was in despair as he didn't want that. But Haircan didn't care much. He just tried to remember what the monsters were in the region. Moments later, a level 25 forest bear attacked them. It was powerful, but Haircan swiftly evaded it. Our boy wasn't even breaking a sweat against these monsters. The forest bear used its other arm to attack. Haircan screamed like he's scared. But he actually planned to aggro the forest bear, and then a skeleton warrior joined the battle. Before it could attack the bear's paw hit it, and threw it on the ground. Haircan was annoyed. That kind of obvious attack won't work. He told the skeleton warrior that it needs to go in from the blind spot. He called the next skeleton warrior. It jumped as it prepared to stab the forest bear, but the forest bear smacked it the same way as the first one. At this point, Haircan couldn't control his temper, since he just told them to come in from the blind spot. He questioned why this guy is doing the exact same thing the previous guy did. He's frustrated. But someone stepped in that got his attention. It was the first skeleton warrior, and it appeared with a flashy pose. Haircan blushed and had high hopes for it. He even called it Skelly. Then it jumped. It looked serious. Haircan thought that this one could be his hope. But in one smack, its skull went flying. Haircan couldn't believe that just happened. In his frustration, all he could do was to shout out loud, "You idiots!" After that, he had those three raise their skulls. They were even kneeling. This served as punishment. Eventually, Haircan told them to put their heads back on. Then he lectured them that when monsters get attacked, the monsters will turn to the direction the attack is coming from. He drew on the ground as he told the skeletons that they had to come in from the blind spot. He asked what would happen if they charged in from where the monster was looking. The three skeletons looked clueless. Haircan told them never mind, since it's just pissing him off even more. Haircan thought that it's great that his skill rank increased and he can summon 3 skeletons now thanks to the effects of Necklace of the Corrupted Tracker. But the problem is, the 3 skeletons can't work together. They all share whatever Haircan taught one of them before. But because they haven't learned how to fight together, they don't know how to do it. They cost triple the mana, but they're even worse than before. Haircan decided to put it off, saying that he reached level 20 like he wanted. But then, he had to pause on making fighting videos for a while. He told the skeletons to get up since they will train, until they reach the Bangtsu Castle. Haircan was hoping to be able to leave the fighting to those guys, while he sat back and relaxed, just like what a necromancer should do. He realized he can't avoid having to be on the forefront. Haircan wasn't thrilled about that. He thought, my fate is cursed. At Raiders Association Bangtsu Castle branch, it was crowded. Lots of players were here waiting for something. One guy walked towards the staircase. Then, as if they were zombies, people went crazy as soon as they saw the guy was out. They grabbed him. People were aggressive. They inquired as to what quest the guy received. Haircan saw it and thought about how they're like hyenas. He expected to find those kinds of people anywhere. They don't even try to work hard on their own. They only wanted to leech off of other people. Someone approached him and asked for any good quests. Haircan told the guy to fuck off. Haircan was cautious not to let them find out that he's doing the Ahimbri quest. He gave the letter of recommendation from Hotan. The guard confirmed it and directed him to go up to the 2nd floor. The guys went crazy saying that they are in a party with Haircan, so they should be allowed to go up. Haircan was looking forward as to what kind of reward Ahimbri has for him. He expected it to be something good since it's a hidden quest. He saw the door. He optimistically foresees a long-lasting relationship with Ahimbri. He was in awe as soon as he opened the door, because it was so messy. There are mountains of skill books just lying on the floor. Someone spoke and asked who he was. The guy looked haggard and hostile. He expressed that he doesn't remember having any appointments that day. It's Ahimbri, an NPC. Haircan was surprised. It made him wonder if Ahimbri always had that character. Haircan introduced himself and gave the recommendation letter from Hotan. Ahimbri stated that Haircan looked like a mage trainee, but with the letter it made him think that Haircan is skilled for his level. Haircan simply replied that he was just lucky. Ahimbri gave him the promised rewards. Haircan received the skill books, bone armor, and madness helm. Haircan was surprised to receive 2, and those books looked super rare. He was about to express his gratitude, but Ahimbri already dismissed him. The system showed Haircan that the teachings of Ahimbri quest had been completed. Haircan panicked since it ended so quickly. He needs Ahimbri to give him the next quest. He didn't go through all of that just to get a couple of skills. He chased after Ahimbri. Haircan promised him that he will do anything. Then, Ahimbri grasped his hands. "Anything, you say?" And with a devilish expression on his face, he thanked Haircan. Haircan received the quest, the egg of the nest. His task is to bring the egg from the nest, but it doesn't have any rewards. He was in disbelief that Ahimbri got him. He thought he was scammed. Meanwhile, the crowd watches as an armed man walks the streets. This man caught attention because the gear was super expensive. The man arrived at the association. It was his destination. Because that is where Ha-Ho Mask is. Back to our MC, the door was closed with a loud slam when Haircan exited. He just learned that it's possible to be scammed by an NPC. He thought Ahimbri would at least give a quest related to the main quest. Now he's puzzled as to what this egg quest is. He complained about not getting a reward. He asked if he really needed to do it. Someone heard him and asked what it was. This guy was looking forward to Haircan to say that it's a quest. Haircan was alarmed. Then the crowd jumped on Haircan after assuming that he received a quest. Haircan forgot about them. Now he doesn't know what to do. He wondered if he should just kill them. Suddenly, someone ordered them to move. A knight appeared and pulled those men away from Haircan. The knight asked Haircan if he had a moment, because he would love for them to talk somewhere quiet. Haircan had no idea who this guy was. Haircan yelled at him to fuck off. The knight told him to cooperate. Then the knight whispered in Haircan's ears, "Mr. Hey-Ho Mask." That caught Haircan off guard. They went to a narrow alleyway. The knight apologized for troubling Haircan. He knew that they wouldn't be able to talk comfortably. When there's people around. The knight removed his mask. Haircan observed and saw that from the gear that this guy has, he has to be a ranker at least. But Haircan couldn't recall him from his memories. Haircan wondered who he was and how he knew who he was. Then, the guy straightforwardly asked if he's Ha-Ho Mask. Haircan knew that in that situation. He needs to pretend like he doesn't know. So, he replied to the guy asking who this Ha-Ho Mask guy that he's been talking about. The guy was puzzled. Then Haircan explained that he followed him out there because the guy wanted to talk, and Haircan insists that he doesn't know who Ha-Ho Mask is. The guy was confused because he's under the impression that Haircan just got a quest from an NPC named Ahimbri. Haircan asked the guy who he is and why Haircan would share information with him. He expressed that being dragged out there already pisses him off. Haircan taunts the guy that if he's looking for a fight, he should put his account on the line and kill him. Then he gave the guy a middle finger. Even if Haircan doesn't know the guy, all he needs to do is pretend like he doesn't know. He waited for the guy's next move. The guy extended his hand and bowed. He admits that he made a mistake. Haircan was slightly caught off guard. He reached out for the extended hand and asked the guy if he's scared. Then he started walking away while telling the guy that he's only letting him slide once. He insulted the guy, calling him a pathetic jerk looking for a fight. The knight watches him walk away. Then, a person from the shadows appeared and expressed that Haircan isn't Ha-Ho Mask. The knight replied that the only thing they're certain of is that Haircan is not a skilled player. The knight stated that if someone had played Warlord for some time, the person would know better than to carelessly reach out their arm with the War Watch. The woman who was hidden in the shadows earlier asked if they must really keep watching around Ahimbri. She uttered that the corrupt Count quest is almost over. Even if someone were to find out, there would be no point. The knight responded that the Egg of the Nest quest is the main quest, and that they shouldn't take unnecessary risks. The woman replied that she's going back to position. The knight walked away, too. Unbeknownst to them, someone from a window was watching them. It was Haircan, and he was surprised to know that there's two of them. He's certain that those two are part of an organization since they are working together. But he knew that if they were from a regular guild, they would have made a deal after telling him who they are. That is why he's certain that those are not just average guys for testing him like that. Haircan became cautious on who those guys are, outside the city. We see the skeleton warriors are having their training with each other while our boy is lost in thought. Haircan knew one thing, that there's something more to the nest egg quest that he got. He assumed that those guys saw his video and knew that Ha-Ho Mask would receive the quest from Ahimbri. But since they had let him go easily, they might not care who Ha-Ho Mask is. Haircan doesn't know what's up with the quest. but he knows that if he continues like that, he's bound to keep running into them. He can't even upload videos for a while if he wants to avoid them. It made him question why crazy people keep ruining his life. He complained that Seol-yeon alone is already too much for him to handle. And speaking of this thick mommy devil, she just logged out of the game. Park Suji, Seol-yeon's secretary, praised her for the good work. She inquired on how the guild entrance exam went. Seol-yeon replied that they were all trash. She angrily questioned why not a single one of them is useful. Suji got scared of her. Seol-yeon asked if there's any updates from the Haho mask that she mentioned last time. Suji remembered that it was the person who uploaded the video. Suji replied that the person must have entered another guild since he hasn't responded yet. Seol-yeon's displeased expression was scary. Suji took back what she said and promised to look into it again. Seol-yeon told her to come back when she's certain. Then Seol-yeon asked what the president said. She also started changing her clothes in front of Suji. Suji informed her that the president hasn't said anything. Seol-yeon uttered that the president is not saying anything because Warlord is doing so well. The president forcefully tried to arrange a marriage when she first told him about playing the game. Seol-yeon was changing her clothes while speaking with Suji. Suji blushed as she listened and adored Seol-yeon. Seol-yeon ordered her to get a new set of applicants and report to her by tomorrow morning. Suji turned pale as soon as she realized it because that's too soon. But she never had the chance to complain because Seol-yeon already left the room. Suji stated that Seol-yeon has such a bad personality. Meanwhile, Hirkan visited a place that he hasn't been in for quite some time. It's the Lizard Swamp. A Himbri is currently in Bangtsu Castle. That is why he knew that the quest should be around that region. Since the quest was related to finding an egg, Hirkan assumed that it had to be either a bird, reptile, or insect-type monster. And narrowing it down to places he could go with his current level, the Lizard Swamp was the only place. He told the skeleton to come forward. He stated that the monsters in there are high level, so he should probably use the enhancement skill that he learned last time. It's called Madness Helm, and to use it, he needs to engrave on the target's head and cast a spell to activate. He activated it by saying the words, "Helm on," and then an ancient letter appeared on the skeleton's forehead. The skeleton glowed brightly in red. It was cool. The skeleton growled. It was now emitting this red, ominous aura around it. Then Hirkan wanted to test it, so he told the skeleton to attack him. There was actually a special note below the screen. It stated that there is a chance that the summon loses its sanity. Our boy wanted to test its new power up, so it commanded it to attack him. The skeleton attacked without any hesitation. Hirkan was taken aback. In annoyance, he punched it, sending its skull flying in the sky. There was a moment of silence from the shock. He's annoyed at this skeleton for daring to scream at him. This also served as a warning for the other two. Hirkan wondered if it was some kind of bug. He knew nothing had changed, so it made him think that he was scammed with the skill. But while thinking about it, something appeared behind him. Multiple level 30 lizard men dashed towards our MC, but instead of panicking, Hirkan was pleased that the test subjects were just in time. He marked another skull, and it increases the summon's stats, with an increase rate of 1.2x. Hirkan also activated the bone armor. It equips the summon with armor, and the armor that is currently available to summon is a chest plate. The skeletons looked leveled up and fierce. Skeleton army is ready for the battle. Even the lizard men were intimidated. Hirkan flicked his finger and made the skeletons charged at those. They really looked like some mad undeads. The skeletons attacked the lizardmen. One skeleton even went behind the lizard man's back. Then, it ended it with just one slash. Hirkan was notified that the skeleton warriors had slain 3 lizard men, which garnered him plus 864 experience points. These guys also kneeled before their master after the fight. Hirkan was happy with that, so he decided that for the next week, they will be hunting down monsters and looking for the egg. And if they found out that they aren't in the quest region, they will move to somewhere else. He left. Little did he know, a woman watched him. That woman licked her lips. Her name is Lilia, and in her perspective, she's a top-tier beauty. She wanted to be humble, but she also thinks that it's the truth. Everyone likes her no matter what she does, and that is why her life has been so easy. And if she acts troubled, then her slaves will step up and help. She wore high heels in the forest and got off balance, so she fell face down on a puddle. She looked pathetic. She's annoyed and whining about hating the place. Turns out one of her slaves brought her there to help her level up. But the guy ended up dying right away, so she's stuck there. The monsters are too high level, and it's hard to walk around the area. She looked for someone she can trick. Then she saw Hurcan. She sets her eyes on a new slave. This bitch even ripped her own clothes, just so she could look a little seducing. And that was when Hurcan heard someone screaming. Lilia purposely fell on the ground and acted helpless as she begged for help. She tried to charm Hurcan by saying that she hurt her legs because of the monsters. She was expecting Hurcan to be affected by a lady in pain, and that he wouldn't help but to help her. But Hurcan just walked away. Lilia's jaw dropped as she learned that he'll just leave like that. A top-tier beauty like her is injured, and Hurcan is just ignoring it. She tried calling out to him. Hurcan was thinking that she's another crazy person. Lilia bites her lip in anger. She couldn't believe he just ignored her. Hurcan continued to watch over the skeletons who were engaged in a fight. He sighed. He finds her annoying. Lilia kept crying, acting pitiful. Hurcan was ignoring her because he didn't want to waste any time. But she keeps following him. Hurcan thought, "If you're in game, then play the damn game properly, you fuckers." And the faces of his old guild members came into his mind. Hurcan decided that it would be faster to just deal with this annoying woman. He asked what she needed. Lilia told him that she dropped her sword in one of the swamps while hunting, and she requested for his help to retrieve it. Hurcan told her that she better fuck off once she gets it back. Lilia promised her that. She relayed her gratitude, but deep inside, she's thinking that she got him on her bait. She pointed at the sword. Bitch expressed her gratitude. Hurcan told her that it's fine and reminded her promise to fuck off after he gets it back for her. Hurcan ordered the skeletons to get it. The skeleton made their way. Skelly No.1 was even annoyed doing that kind of task. All the while, Lilia kept thanking him while scheming something behind his back. She knew that necromancers are nothing without their summons. She attacked Hurcan from behind. She wants him to die. But our not-simp MC turned around and teased her for being too slow. Lilia was surprised. Hurcan grabbed her and threw her in the sky. Lilia fell on the swamp. When she rose above the water, she cursed at him. She threatened him that he won't get away with it, and her bodyguards would destroy him in no time. Hurcan laughed at her and pointed behind her. She was confused as to what's behind her. It was those lizard men. They attacked her. Hurcan yelled at her that if she's going to threaten him, she needs to do a better job. He teased her and told her that he saw through her from the start. He called her an idiot. Hurcan had enough of being scammed. He was annoyed to have wasted time. He told them that they will leave. When he checked what they're doing, the skeleton was doing weird poses to practice its charm. I bet they got the idea from bitch Lilia. He bonked their heads and scolded them for learning weird things. Hurcan smiled brightly when he was notified that player Lilia had died. He was pleased to know that he got points for that. He didn't expect it since he didn't kill him with his hands. He recalled her threat. "My bodyguards could destroy you in no time." He made fun of her for relying on her bodyguards. "Bodyguards, my ass!" He bets that someone like her doesn't have bodyguards. Little did he know that Lilia's fanatics watched their interactions. Hardcore simps are on. They were to be plot fodders. At the swamp, someone was stabbed by a knife. The man cursed at Hurcan. He wanted to take revenge for Lilia. Hurcan questioned the guy as to why he's going so far for her, especially when it looked like the guy wasn't getting anything out of it. He asked him if he thinks Lilia will go out with him if he asks. Hurcan probed further as to why this man is so obsessed over a woman he met in a game. The man laughed out loud, which caught Hurcan off guard. Then this simp yelled that it was because he loves her. Hurcan got annoyed by his answer and instantly slashed the man. He uttered "what a joke" with a disgusted expression. He thought about that freak earlier, who kept trying to trick him. So Hurcan decided to get rid of her. And he never thought about what Lilia said back then would turn out to be true. Lilia acted pitiful and expressed that she was sad. She stated that all she did was ask for help, and the necromancer attacked her all of a sudden. That angered her fans. And thanks to that, Hurcan started to run into crazy bastards every day. He's already anxious enough because he can't find the quests, and now he has a bunch of gooners after him. He wondered if he should find that woman and kill her again. but he knew it might lead into even bigger problems. System notified that he obtained the ownerless watch. The system informed him that he had obtained 5011 G, Goblin's leather boost, and a rare necklace called Necklace of Promise. Hurkan remembered that it's a super-rate item that can be sold for book 1. His opinion then changed. He now thinks love is great. Hurkan and the 3 skeletons raised their arms up high in celebration while Hurkan thanked those bastards. Hurkan kissed the watch as he was thinking how he would have a fancy dinner. Suddenly, a man arrived yelling that he had found Lilia's enemy. Hurkan proudly stated that he's the one who killed Lilia. Then he welcomed everyone. But he noticed something. Our boy didn't expect that the whole simp club were there, and boy oh boy, there were so many of them. Hurkan ran the shit away. Those men were after Hurkan to kill him. Hurkan glanced back while running, wondering how many of them were there. He was surprised to learn that there are that many people obsessed over that woman. He ran as fast as he could. He cursed. Then, with a flick of his fingers, he ordered his skeletons to attack. One man expected that skeleton summons, and he knew a comrade who could deal with it. The guy with glasses activated his skill. He called it the power of love. In Hurkan's head, he screamed that there's no such skill. The system notified Hurkan that his skeleton had been destroyed. Hurkan realized that those men seem to be higher level than him, and there are a lot of them. He doesn't think that he'll be able to fight them head-on. He ran away as fast as he could, but he vowed that those guys are dead once he levels up. They chased after him. Hurkan was out of breath because of those persistent bastards. It was hard for him to shake them off because Hurkan is under-leveled comparatively. He knew that he just needed to keep running away. But when he realized it, he's already lost. The place was different from others. He doesn't remember such a place being in a lizard swamp. Hurkan had been looking around the area for days, but he had never seen that kind of black swamp before. It made him think. Our boy became certain that this place was what he's looking for. Meanwhile, the simp fanatics continued looking for Hurkan. One man pointed in front and announced that he saw the skeleton. They were dumbfounded when they saw those skeletons having a dance party. Their jaws dropped as they watched the dance moves of these skeletons. The man who pointed at those skeletons got triggered. He uttered that Hurkan is insulting them too. The other man was confused, if that was really the intention. The man charges at the skeleton while yelling that he won't ever forgive Hurkan. Before he could reach the skeleton, a large creature appeared. He was surprised and terrified. He knew he messed up. The creature's long tongue grabbed the man. The others turned pale because it was a dragon lizard. It is at level 40, and it is the boss monster of the lizard swamp. They panicked while Hurkan is hiding behind the tree, watching them. He never thought the nest would be the dragon lizard's nest. Dragon lizard is a boss monster with overwhelming defense, health, and attack, which takes a party of 20 players with an average level of 40 to barely be able to hunt it down. Hurkan had heard that the dragon lizard raid was completed a while ago, so normally, the boss wouldn't be there. However, if someone with a related quest enters the field, the monster will respawn. In other words, since the dragon lizard is there, Hurkan is certain that it is the place where Ahimbras's quest takes place. Hurkan realized that Ahimbri sent him there to defeat that thing and bring back the egg when he's just a level 20 player. Hurkan called Ahimbri a scammer for doing something so ridiculous. It annoyed him. But luckily, he was able to gather some good teammates, so he thinks it's fine. One man yelled that the dragon lizard was too much for them. He suggested retreating, but Hurkan told them that they can't do that. Hurkan summoned the boosted skeletons. They were in berserk mode and blocked the path for those guys. Now they didn't really have a choice but to fight the dragon lizard. One man suggested forcing their way through, but before he could do anything, the tail of the dragon lizard swats him away. Those men feel trapped with the dragon lizard behind them too. One man noticed that the necromancer was running away. While Hurkan was running away with a grin on his face, he was thanking his teammate for their sacrifice. Hurkan knew that it's the right opportunity to quickly rob an empty nest. He moves as swiftly as possible. He got inside the nest and was ready to take the egg, but he turned pale. Hurkan saw that the egg wasn't there. He couldn't accept that and thought that it's just there somewhere. He looked around. until he found one ominous cone-shaped thing with a mark. It also exudes a dark aura around it. He stared at it and thought of how he found the most suspicious thing he could, but he's hesitant because it's closer to a stone than an egg. But he also knew that there's nothing else even remotely close to an egg. Hyrcan's egg hunt was interrupted when he was notified that the skeleton warrior had been destroyed. He immediately got up since it might be a sign that the dragon lizard is coming back after detecting an intruder. Time is up for Hyrcan. The dragon lizard instantly showed up and made a loud noise. Fortunately, Hyrcan had already hidden. That was close. Now that it's back, Hyrcan can't search through the nest again. So he had no choice but to bring the stone-looking thing with him, even though he believes that it's not an egg. He then thought of Ahimbri's mean-looking face if he fails this task. The status window displayed the task to bring back an unknown egg from the nest, but there's no reward. Few moments later, several men float in the black swamp. One was coughing. Hyrcan crouches in front of him and greets, "Yo!" Hyrcan commented that Warlord is such an interesting game. He commented that there are so many freaks because they get so much freedom. He took the watch. The guy cursed at him, but before he could finish his sentence, he was stopped by something. It was Hyrcan's blade, and he made it clear to the guy that he had been playing with them as a joke, but he has a lot on the line in the game. So next time, he won't let them off easily. The warning is for the fanatics and that woman. The guy was left trembling in fear. Hyrcan crossed the swamp by stepping on the men laying there. Hyrcan was so annoyed. He was thinking that if those men come after him again, even after he warned them, he will wage a full-out war. Now, it's time for Hyrcan to get some extra cash. Get the moolah. He called the Bangtsu Guild and informed them that he just spotted a dragon lizard in the swamp. He informed them that he will sell the location for 100,000 G. But to his disappointment, the person on the line thought it was a prank call. He clarified that he's being serious. Few hours later, Hyrcan placed the egg on the table and mumbled, "Ah, brang that thing you talk about," which just translates to, "I brought the thing you talked about." Hyrcan prayed that what he brought was the right one, because he doesn't want to go searching through the map again. Ahimbri inspected it, and he uttered that, "It is exactly," Hyrcan anticipated. It was the item that he's looking for. He was then praised for his good work. Hyrcan was glad that he got it right. Ahimbri commented that Hyrcan is faster than he expected. Ahimbri thought it would take him much longer for someone like Hyrcan. Hyrcan was annoyed since Ahimbri already knew that, but still gave him the quest. Hyrcan expressed that he gave it his everything. He asked for the next quest. Ahimbri asked Hyrcan if he was aware of what it was. Ahimbri told him that whenever they researched the area around where the mutated monsters were, that thing was always found. That is why Ahimbri temporarily named it as the Corruption Stone. Hearing this made our MC jolt a bit. Hyrcan realized that it must be the reason why those guys are after him. He finally caught up. The Corruption Stone is an important item related to the main quest. He remembered the knight who approached him and realized that they wanted to make sure someone else gets their hands on the item that could impact the flow of the main quest later down the line. Hyrcan thought he was being scammed when he got the quest, but he never expected it to be the main quest. Then his thoughts were cut off when Ahimbri apologized to him. He knew that the quest would be too much for him, but he did it because they are also facing an unknown, powerful being, and he needed to test Hyrcan's willpower. Ahimbri asked him if he's ready to fight against corruption. Hyrcan clenched his fist. He knew that being a part of the main quest is a golden opportunity unlike any other. Hyrcan enthusiastically expressed that he would devote his body and soul. Ahimbri cut him off mid-sentence, saying that it wouldn't be right away. Our MC's expectations were shattered. Ahimbri told him that he must already know how strong the monsters are. He doesn't think that he should give such a quest to a beginner. Hyrcan panicked as he realized that he might be too low-leveled to continue with the quest. He was about to protest when Ahimbri told him that if he said, "Oh, great mage Ahimbri, please take me as your disciple," Ahimbri might help him train. Ahimbri was such a bully. Few moments later, Hyrcan left the room. The system informed him that he completed the quest, Egg of the Nest, and obtained the title Ahimbri's Disciple. Then the quest Ahimbri's teaching started. Hurakan felt embarrassed by what he went through with the guy. He claimed that Ahimbri is such a scammer. Back at the swamp, the dragon lizard was being burned down. The men celebrated that it was finally over. The healer called those who were injured to come to him. One man expressed to the captain that their guild finally did something big. The captain agreed. He told the man to tell everyone to gather around after getting some rest. A man approached another man, thanking him and expressing that the guy was actually stronger than he expected. He called this guy a helper. It was the same knight who approached Hurakan earlier. This helper replied that it's all thanks to those guys for supporting him so well. This is also the same guy that approached our MC for the quest. The man replied that if it were just them, at least 5 of them would have died. He stated that it's thanks to the helper that they were able to clear it without anyone dying. He expressed that he was skeptical when he heard that there were helpers who got money to help out with boss raids, but now he's glad that he called the guy. The guy gave the helper a pouch containing money. The helper replied that it isn't the promised compensation. The guy replied that it is different from the compensation that they promised. The helper replied no. The helper expressed that he doesn't like violating the rules. The guy was caught off guard. He thought that the man was being a helper for the money. The guy also finds it strange for a ranker to come for such a low-level raid. It made him wonder who that person was. The man uttered that he will be taking every item from the nest as promised. The guy yelled that there shouldn't be anything worth taking from the nest. The helper thought about how he's lucky since he never expected to get an opportunity to get the corruption stone. When he heard that the dragon lizard respawned, he was nervous that Heiho Mask was already doing the quest. But since the dragon lizard is still alive, he assumed that Heiho Mask failed to clear the quest. He uttered that defeating a boss monster isn't something someone can do with controls alone. He planned to take the corruption stone and stop Heiho Mask from completing the quest. But when he arrived in the nest, it was empty. He trembled in anger and, of course, cursed out loud. Meanwhile, Jae-hyun uttered that it is time. He thought about all those days he spent in pain. He kept telling himself that if he held on for just a little longer, things would get better. But it's time for it to end now. He decided to do it, to order beef. He was trying to conserve food costs as much as possible. But now that he had gotten the main quest, he thinks that that much should be fine. He also got some extra cash this time, so he thinks that it's much more of an appropriate reward for himself. He was excited to convert it into real money. His current balance is now 1,400,856 won. This is like $1,000. He was happy with that. It was now time for him to go get some beef. But after the deductions like debt repayment, utility bills, rent, he was left with 856 won. This is not even $1. Now he can't afford any food at all. He questioned why he's still so broke when he worked his ass off. Then he received a message. Romini asked if he's still alive and if he's quitting WTube completely. He realized he forgot to update about his situation. He replied that he won't be able to make some more videos because some freaks were after him. But he didn't send it. He wondered if he really needed to be wary of those guys when he's about to starve to death. He claimed that he's just an innocent gamer who is enjoying a game. Jaehan was annoyed. He didn't care anymore and decided to do his own thing. Then we see this creepy tombstone, together with these freaking crows. Turns out, Hurakan and his skeletons arrived at the Forest of the Dead. A necromancer going to a cemetery? Something's telling me this is kinda spicy. Hurakan commented that it was so spooky no matter how many times he had come in there. He thought that it's the best place for him to get experience points. And with its spooky atmosphere, it's great for attracting attention in his videos too. He told his skeletons that they will be hunting. But first, he announced that they are gonna have another teammate. It's a skeleton wearing a mage's robe. Hurakan told the 3 skeletons that magic will be part of their strategy, so from then on, they have to get along with the new skeleton. The skeleton mage is a skill that the scammer Ahimbri gave Hurakan. They are able to use more advanced spells as his skill master increases. It was a great skill, but it does eat up quite a bit of mana. What they were hunting that day are those. Our boy pointed at something. An arm came out of the ground. Then, more skeletons are emerging. Those are level 33 skeletons. The summoned skeleton's jaw dropped. They were confused that it was funny. Hirkan told them that it's coming, but he noticed that his summons weren't moving. He ordered them to hunt it down. The skeleton was shocked. It's like telling them to hunt their own kind. Hirkan told them that they would realize something once they start fighting, but undead monsters have a trait different from normal monsters. The summons trembled and hid. Hirkan was confused as to what they were doing. He told them to stop wasting so much time since they have a lot to do. He urged them to hurry up and fight. Our MC snapped his finger and the attack mode was activated. One skeleton attacked. It slashed the undead monster. Right skull and ribs were broken. But surprisingly, it became more aggressive. That it spooked the summoned skeleton. Hirkan told them that normal attacks won't work. He brought out the mage's hammer, a rare weapon that increases plus 35 strength. Hirkan smashed the undead monster using that. Its head flew away as Hirkan used it as a baseball bat. He even commented that it's a home run. He asked his summoned skeletons if they saw it. He instructed that they need to hammer its head. The skeletons were terrified and were holding on to their heads. It was funny. Hirkan asked them what they're doing. Hirkan informed them that the goal for that day is to hunt down 100 skeletons within 100 minutes. He told them that if they didn't succeed, he will leave them there. And of course, these skeletons wouldn't want to become one of the abandoned undeads here. So, they moved at the speed of light. Eventually, the heads were flying. The notification that Hirkan had slain a skeleton kept popping out. He also leveled up. Hirkan commented that it's great. He thought that it would take the summoned skeletons longer to get used to a weapon that they have never used before. But they are doing better than he expected. He expected the video to be successful. He thought of contacting Romani. But then, Hirkan felt the ground shake. A large creature stomped. It was a level 35 skeleton warrior. It was about 3 times that of the ordinary ones. It's a rare monster that spawns randomly. But instead of getting scared, our boy's thought process was like this. A defeated rare monster will be equal to yummy and delicious beef. Hirkan and his summoned skeleton's eyes sparkled as they charged in. Hirkan told them to get his beef. Hirkan was already drooling, thinking about what he should eat first. He thought about steak, or a grilled one, but beef bulgogi sounds good too. He saw the axe coming. It was so powerful that when it hit the ground, it created dent and ripples. Good thing Hirkan was able to step back. He expressed that it was scary. He almost died before even getting to do anything. He was glad that he went for its arm first. And the next thing he needs to do is dash once again and destroy one of the key points of these skeleton undeads. He attacked with the skill Pelvis Crusher. He attacked simultaneously with the 3 summoned skeletons until the skeleton warrior shrieked. He checked if all the skeletons were okay. And, of course, these fuckers are safe and sound. Hirkan uttered that it was easier than he thought. But then, the skeleton warrior attacked from behind. Our boy already knew about it, and he just glanced at it. He said that it's so impatient. Little did the skeleton warrior know, Hirkan had one more skeleton left. The mage skeleton created a flame. It made the flame bigger. This guy had been charging up his skill. It was a huge fireball. And in a split second, the flame engulfed the skeleton warrior. The system informed Hirkan that he had slain the skeleton warrior. He had gained experience points. He expected to gain at least 10,000 views on the video. He felt hungrier now. He decided to go for grilled meat. But suddenly he was notified that the field boss had detected the death of its underling. Hirkan was caught off guard. He was notified that the field boss had found intruders. He was warned that the field boss was awakening. It slowly emerges from the magic circle. It was a gigantic skeleton wearing a large crown headdress. It looked elegant, yet scary. Hirkan was dumbfounded. What? He was shocked to see this level 40 golden skeleton, a boss monster. Golden skeleton is the boss monster of the Forest of the Dead and also the first mage-class boss monster. It's a stronger boss monster that's known as the newbie killer. Hirkan realized that the condition for it to appear was defeating a lot of skeletons. He didn't think about that. He can't guarantee that he can beat it. But if he does, it will be a jackpot. He already knew how. If he buffs his skeletons, he could somehow do it. He called his skeletons, but when he checked, they weren't there. The system notified him that the summoning has been undone due to lack of mana. Ha! was Hurricane's reaction. He knew he fucked up. He thought about it, and it made sense since he summoned all 4 of them and he even made the mage cast all those spells, so there's no way he had mana left. It left him no choice. Our boy will now have to face a boss monster all by himself. It was time for Hurricane to warm up his body for the first time in a while. He uttered, "Slot on!" His clothing changed. The necromancer MC we were waiting for is here. He was ready to fight the golden skeleton. He dashes forward. The golden skeleton created several magic circles. It looked menacing. Then it fires beams from the magic circles. Hurricane knew that a single hit would kill him, and it threw so many of them. No wonder it is called the newbie killer. He had no chance of winning if he let it keep casting spells like that. If that's the case, Hurricane just needs to stop it from using them. He hit it, and the fingers were crushed. The golden skeleton was surprised that the magic circle had shattered. Hurricane knew that its hands were connected to the spells, so he decided to destroy all of its hands. The boss monster looked angry. Hurricane was informed that the field boss gazed at him. Then the field boss has successfully seen through him and gauged his level. Its hands made a sign, and it started emitting dark lightning. Hurricane had no idea what's going on. A bright purple light appeared in the dark sky, and it fired a powerful laser beam. Hurricane ran for his life. He had no idea what it was, but the beam chased him. He cursed as he saw it catching up to him. Then he saw it approaching. He tried to speed up as the beam destroyed everything on its way. Hurricane jumped and got down on the ground. He asked what it was. It's a crazy pattern that he can't recall. It made him think if he's remembering it wrong. He questions if the golden skeleton has hidden patterns or if there is a balance patch like they did with minotaurs. But he couldn't remember anything. He thought, it's already been a few years since I last hunted down a golden skeleton. He felt frustrated since he had no summoned skeletons and he can't fully remember its patterns. So, he questioned how he's supposed to beat that. The golden skeleton unleashed another beam. Hurricane decided to try anything that he could. It was raining beams, but he avoided it. Hurricane can dodge its attacks as long as he knows its trajectory. But the problem is that there's no time for him to attack back. He was looking for a blind spot, but he got careless. It grabbed him. Then the boss monster raises Hurricane and screamed to its face. The breath of it made Hurricane's hair a mess. It really is an undead monster. Hurricane wondered how many patterns this guy has, and at the same time, a magic circle was starting to charge up another beam. But then, our MC smirks and reveals that he has a hidden card on his sleeve. He held his hand out and uttered, "Inflict Curse." This skill is the Demon's Curse, and that made the target's stats decrease by 13%. With its strength stat lowered, Hurricane got away from its grip. He didn't know how to get an attack opportunity, but it just gave him one. He prepared his fist and thanked it with a punch. The monster came crashing down. Parts of it got shattered while the skull formed cracks. Hurricane declared that the boss was defeated. It went back to its magic circle. Hurricane was notified by the system that he had slain the golden skeleton. He also gained experience points, 97,936 G, the title Skeleton Destroyer, and he leveled up. He laughed, as he admits that it was a close one. He disabled Slot On, then he checked his status window. He is at level 36 with 9 titles. His strength is 109, stamina 35, intelligence 101, and mana 141. He felt so happy reaching level 36. He knew that it's dangerous to continue that way. His 141 mana is now a low number considering he invested the bare minimum points in it, but he knew it's not enough. Until then, he was getting by with his titles and fast leveling, but now that he has more skills to use, it's not enough. He increased his strength for the skeleton warriors, but there's no point if the skeleton warriors are gone. He had obtained all the mana titles he could get at that stage. Now he wants better gear, but he doesn't have enough money. He just smiled and thought, fuck it, I don't know. He decided that in the meantime, he'll send the video to Romini and get to level 40, and he will be having beef ramen. Few moments later, the screen displayed the part where Heiho Mask stated, "Boss defeated." The video was paused. Romini sighed. She punched her stuffed toy. Is he insane? She was fangirling, because he defeated a boss monster who was a higher level than him without taking a single hit. and he managed to pull that kind of stunt on the spot without any practice. She claims that he is so talented. She stated that the raw video is already so great, so there's not much for her to edit. She decided to send him the final video file. She wondered what title to put on. She used phrases like, "the man who dominates skeletons," and he can do it by himself. She kept typing, until she decided on the title, Emperor of Solo Play. There it is, folks. She freaking said the title. At the Raiders Association Bangsu Castle branch. Hirkan returned to Ahimbri stronger. Ahimbri saw that he's back. He asked him what happened to make him look like a homeless person. In Hirkan's head, he wanted to reply that it was his fault, but he just asked for the reward. Ahimbri took out the promised reward. He received the skill book called Osteology for finishing Ahimbri's quest called Ahimbri's Teachings. That surprised him, because osteology was a super rare necromancer skill that can't be found in the markets. His mastery on this is at F. The stats of all his skeleton summons increased by 5%. The mana cost for summoning and maintaining skeleton summons was reduced by 10%, and he can summon one additional skeleton. The mana reduction was exactly what he needed. He was so happy. He thanked Ahimbri. When Ahimbri remembered that there's another one, he gave him the Corrupted Tracker's Ring. He used the Corrupted Stone that he brought back so he can use the power of the Corrupt One himself. Corrupted Tracker's Ring increases class-specific stats by +2, all stats by +9. And when wearing the necklace of the Corrupted Tracker, all stats by +21, he couldn't believe it. His eyes sparkled upon seeing it. It was the rare ring given only to the first ones to complete the main quest line. He was so happy that he jumped to it. But Ahimbri clutched it to his chest and told him that he can't just hand it over. Hirkan was so confused. Then Ahimbri teased him by telling to catch him if he could. He laughed at it and told him that he's dead when catches him. Eventually, he got the ring. He was already out of breath. He wondered what was up with that crazy old man. He would have killed him already if he wasn't an NPC. But he was glad he was able to get the ring and the next quest from him. Ahimbri informed him that he lost all contact with an agent named Migi. He suggested that Hirkan should give Tsuryu Castle a visit. Hirkan decided to let him off just this once. The Tsuryu Castle area was pretty high level, so he decided to level up more on his way there. Unexpectedly, he received news from Romeni. She just uploaded the Golden Skeleton video and suggested he check it at once. Lo and behold, it garnered 2.35 million views, 1,326 likes, and several comments. But what caught his attention was the money sent to him, and his total earnings made his jaw drop. He couldn't believe it. The shock made him fall on his butt. He counted the zeros on the total, and there were 8. He first thought of the tomahawk, then ribeye, filet mignon, strip loin, and all other food. It made him drool just thinking of whatever tasty food that he can finally eat. He finally hit the jackpot. He knew it would get good reactions, but he didn't expect them to be that good. It made him wonder if someone had posted it somewhere else. He thought of logging out first, but a comment caught his attention. The viewer gave him 1,000,001 with a message that it left him a DM a couple of times. It was from the Thunder Hunters Guild scouting manager. He wanted to officially recruit Hirkan to their guild. He remembered that it was the guild where Chai Seolyon was. They were so persistent in his previous life. They even chased him at one point, and now they're recruiting him again. He cursed at them and stated that he wouldn't join the Hunters Guild even if his life depended on it. It was the same line that he said before, and it surprised him. Back then, he expressed how annoyed he was. He complained to his guild on how persistent they had been when he refused so many times already. On top of that, he's already part of a guild. One of the guild members expressed that he was so lucky because the Thunder Hunter Guild was one of the best, even among the top 30 guilds. He added that the leader of the guild was the daughter of a rich family, so a 6-figure salary was pretty much guaranteed. They all agreed that it made sense for that guild to go after Hirkan. It was because he's so good at the game, and in all of their uploaded guild raid videos, all the comments talk about him. The guild leader told him that he's too good for them. Hirkan told them to stop. Whatever the offer was, he was determined not to join, and he believes that money will come once they become the strongest guild. He would rather keep playing the game in his current guild. Little did he know that the guild leader already had this evil plan, and when he thought about it, since then, they changed. But he wished that they hadn't stabbed him in the back just for it. He slapped his face and focused again, since it wasn't the time to be crazy for money. He had so much to do that it was too early to be satisfied. He decided to use all of that money. He He summoned his skeletons. All 4 of them had formed. Immediately, the 3 skeleton warriors told him not to summon the golden skeleton. He told these bastards that he was the one who did everything during the raid. He announced that they will be starting to train again. They had to practice moving efficiently since he doesn't want to repeat what happened last time. He asked if they could do it. He recalled a memory of the guild leader telling him to take it easy since everyone was already tired. One of them told him that he's different from them. At the present moment, he looked at these goofy skeletons that gave him a thumbs up, and it made him smile. He realized that this time was different, and now our boys are set off to become the strongest. He told them that their destination was Tsuryu Castle, and they would train on the way there. The skeletons nodded their heads in agreement. Hirkan explained that the training was simple. They would run all the way there, and if any of those skeletons got left behind, it would get beaten. It was so funny how he enjoyed chasing after them with a bat while those skeletons ran for their life. He teased them and sped up, and it made those skeletons terrified. Meanwhile, Sire was in deep thought. A mage approached her and asked what she was thinking about. She was seated on top of piled monster corpses. This man named Hatch, a member of the Thunder Hunters Guild, told her that it's almost time for the meeting. She jumped down from the mountain of corpses and asked about the progress on the corrupted count. Hatch replied that they haven't found a clue to get to the next quest. She couldn't believe that they let the Hydra take the main quest line before them. She felt humiliated. Hatch suggested that they figure it out soon since they're going to the meeting with the leaders of all the top 30 guilds. She responded that there's no way a meeting with those fools could be useful. Hatch advised her to be careful out there, and he addressed her as Guild Master. And before we continue with the story, here's a little bit of recap. The WTube video was a hit, and Hirkan earned a large sum of money overnight. He was so close to losing control of himself, but thanks to the very person responsible for everything he had been through, reigniting his flames of revenge. He resolved to walk the path of a hungry beast, and the very first thing he had done, he placed a bag on a table and declared that he brought all the debt, principal, and interest in cash. He just paid off his debt. Next on his list was to buy rare skill books. After that, our boy was back on being broke. Again. Hirkan sighed out loud. He thought he was prepared for it, but looking at his bank balance still stings. He forced himself to forget about it and learn the new skills he bought. He obtained the skill called Skin Grafting. It was a passive skill that increases defense by attaching monster remains to the skin. If damaged from accumulated hits, the material must be replaced with a new one. He was amused that it increased his defense. He was excited to try it out at once. He used the skeleton warrior's horns to strengthen himself. Hirkan has gained the essence of a skeleton warrior and increased his defense by +5. He checked his hand and materialized his dagger. He slashed his hand with it. He was amused that he was perfectly fine. It turned out to be better than he expected. He moved on to the next book, which led him to obtain the skill Curse of Sloth. Curse of Sloth casts a curse that slows the target's movements. The larger, faster, and stronger the target was, the more mana was required and the shorter the duration. After reading that, it made him think. He looked at the skeleton on his right and gave him the item. Hirkan had this silly expression when he stated that it would be useful in combat. He proceeded to the last skill. It was the Summon Golem. This was the hardest skill to get, and also the skill that he wanted the most. The earth in front of them collapsed. The skeletons watched it unfold before them. Hirkan was glad to have finally summoned a golem. He was giddy about it. To him, a necromancer was nothing without golems. The golem was large, which led him to think that it was more reliable than any tanker. On top of that, it has a copy mode. Him and the golem looked connected, because the copy mode synchronizes his movements with the golem, and combining the golem's strength and his movements, it was ridiculously effective. He punched the air. But the golem didn't do the same. He was so confused that it wasn't working. He thought that it was a bug. The golem eventually punched the air. It left him dumbfounded. He realized that it was slow. It made him laugh out loud. And then he cursed this garbage pay-to-win game. Meanwhile, in a virtual gathering, the participants were all present. Nergal, the leader of the Ares Guild, thanked everyone for attending when they were all busy. Matador Shev, the leader of the Red Bulls Guild, recognized some familiar. Berg, the leader of the Big Smile Guild, simply watches the other. While Sire, the leader of the Thunder Hunters Guild, was just quiet. Berg pointed out that 29 were invited, and only 4 showed up. Matador Chev replied that it was more than what he expected. Berg replied that it was unexpected because they're talking about the top 30 guilds. Nergal agreed that it's definitely unusual. Normally, the top 30 guilds of warlords are in fierce competition with one another. It was rare for them to have a meeting like that. However, the Hydra Guild has learned the identity of the corrupt Count. They're also planning the final raid for a month. Matador Chev commented that it's crazy. None of the other guilds were even close to getting there, which led him to think that the Hydra Guild has done something. Berg yelled that it will all be over if they let them get the corrupt Count, and they would end up hogging all the future main quests. Plus, the sponsorships, ads, contents. Siri told him to shut up. She told him that if he's scared, he should just shut up and stay down. She warned him not to piss her off. Berg was ready to fight her, though. Matador Chev urged them to calm down since they aren't in there just to fight. Nergal agreed. He added that fighting would only do Hydra Guild a favor. Then, he proceeded to suggest making an anti-Hydra alliance. It means that the 4 guilds that have gathered will promise not to fight until the end of the corrupt quest line, and they will share any and all information about the corrupt Count. He asked if there's anyone opposed to it. Matador Chev admitted that he's not a fan of schemes like that, but there was no choice. Berg replied that if they don't stop the Hydra Guild, they will all be done for. Nergal concluded that meeting with that. But Sire doesn't look happy about it. After that, she took a shower. While doing so, she was in deep thought. She felt humiliated, that they can't even defeat the Chapter 1 boss themselves, and they had to team up with other guilds. But there was nothing she could do. If they let them get to the corrupt Count before them, they would be done for. She decided to lay low and wait for the next opportunity. She called someone and instructed that person to order all guild members to keep an eye out on Hydra and report back and all strange movements. She was determined to get the corrupt Count, no matter what. At the Raiders Association Suryu, Castle Branch, Herkin heard shocking news. A man told him to go to Boboru Forest, because it's where Agent Miggy went missing. He wants him to search the area and look for his traces. But Herkan was well aware that Boboru Forest was filled with level 70 monsters. It was a dangerous area, and he'd die immediately if he went there at once. The man sighed and pointed out that it was the reason why he asked a pupil of a Himbri. If Herkan would decline, he will lose his status as the corrupt tracker. Herkan didn't like the sound of that. The bell on the clock tower rang. Herkan was on the plaza feeling depressed, and annoyed too. He took out the quest window. It was about Find Miggy. He was to find the missing agent Miggy, who was investigating the corrupt stones, and take over the mission. The reward was 500 gold and additional rewards. The penalty would be losing the corrupt tracker title when he doesn't complete the quest. He has 29 days, 9 hours, and 33 minutes for this quest. The penalty puts him off. If he loses his status as the corrupt tracker, he'll be kicked out from the main quest line. He complained about the difficulty level. He realized that taking all those quests above his skill level backfired. Normally, he wouldn't have been able to complete those quests, but he somehow managed to complete them and proceeded on to the next. And now he got a quest meant for level 60 and higher. He wondered what he should do. He doesn't want to give up the main quest line, but he couldn't really go to the Boboru Forest. While thinking about that, he overheard someone talking about the Hydra Guild and wondering if they would complete the main quest line. If they do, they would be ahead of other guilds for sure. The rest of the top 30 guilds were having trouble even starting the quest line. The man asked on what would happen to all the other ongoing main quest lines if the corrupt Count was defeated. Hirkan smiled, as he realized that he doesn't even need to go to the Boboru Forest after all. Meanwhile, someone spied on a castle and found that there's nothing special for that day either. These spies thought that their mission was finally coming to an end. Having to sit there and watch the castle for hours every day was starting to drive them crazy. But Natal, Hydra's 8th in command, was so focused on looking at his telescope. The other guy looked forward to the reward for defeating the corrupt Count, and once that happens, the Hydra Guild would definitely be ranked top tier. Natal encouraged him not to get ahead of himself, and he clarified that they aren't done there because their mission is to secretly monitor the corrupt Count's castle. They can't afford to let their guards down and leak any information. He reminded him that real professionals know how to stay cool. Someone arrived and happily waved at Natal of Hydra. Natal was surprised. This man was Kim's, a third-ranked player from Red Bulls. Natal asked what the Red Bulls were doing there. Kim's replied that the boss monster on the mountain was high level, so he was on his way to defeat it. He assumed that it was the reason why they're there, too. They knew they couldn't reveal their mission, so they just agreed to him. Kim's noticed that he doesn't look well and asked if he needs to take a shit. Natal was annoyed by him. Then before Kim's left, he encouraged Natal to feel free to relieve himself. Natal's friend tried his best to keep him from fighting. Natal was left feeling furious. Kim's tapped his watch, then reported that Hydra's 8th in command was there, which confirms that tip that they got. He was reporting to Matador Chev, who was in disbelief. Yell thought that the anonymous tip about the corrupt Count's location was just a prank message. She wondered what the motive was for the anonymous tipper to give such important information for free. Matador Chev considered that it was one from Hydra Guild who has a grudge against their own guild. Kim's replied that they're not in a position to be picky about those things since they were about to lose everything to the Hydra Guild. He suggested fighting them while buying them some time. But Matador Chev advised him to return, because if it really was where the corrupt Count's castle was, he's certain that most of Hydra's forces were dispatched there, and they can't afford to lose one of their main forces. Kim's replied that he's flattering him. He added that the Red Bulls won't go down even if he's not there. Unexpectedly, Kim's was hit. Matador Chev and Yell heard the loud sound and got worried. Kim's replied that it looked like they're not the only one who got that information. The crazy Chihuahua arrived. He corrected himself and called her the Princess of the Thunder Hunters. She threatened him to tell her everything he knew, otherwise he's dead. She was called the Thunder Princess Hahui of the Thunder Hunters. Meanwhile, a bear and a golem fought. The bear punched the golem, and the golem blocked it with its arms. It kept defending, until it found the chance to counterattack. But it was so slow, the bear attacked instead, and all the while the skellies were just there chilling and watching the fight. Meanwhile, Hircon was checking out search results, but it was too quiet. He's certain that the emails were sent and he should be getting replies already. The only way he thought to solve the problem without having to go to Bobaru Forest was to forcefully end the quest. The main quest of the Line Warlord consists of multiple chapters, and the one ongoing currently was Chapter 1, the Corrupt Count. Once the Corrupt Count is defeated, the chapter ends, and all related quests were forcefully ended. Even if he was the one to take on the Corrupt Count himself, there's no way he'll be able to defeat it within the time limit, so he'd rather start the next chapter with the time that he had. So he doesn't care who it was, he just needed someone to defeat it, which is why he spread the information to multiple guilds. Of course, excluding Seol Yan, and yet he had not yet received a response. But then something made his eyes widened. There was a notification that the Hydra Guild official channel has started a live stream. At this point, his golem's hand was cut off. It was left with one arm. The bear roared loudly as it prepared for another attack, but Hircan got annoyed with it and told it to shut up while he punched its head. He needed to watch the live stream, so he wanted some peace and quiet. The skeletons and Golem all watched with him. The Hydra Guild announced that they planned to conduct a raid to uncover the identity of the corrupt Count, and the planned date of the raid was... Hircan prayed that it would be within the month, but their announcement shocked Hircan. The planned date was 3 days from then. It was sooner than he expected, but it wasn't that surprising for him, because he had predicted that already. He had a smile on his face. That turned into a creepy laugh, which made his summons feel a little bit weird. A few moments later, the bear and the golem fought again. He watched them while thinking how 3 days had been really quick, but he understood that they must have been getting anxious because he spread the information to the other guilds. He had no worries about Hydra, since they're ahead of other guilds in terms of the main quest progress, and they had a lot of skilled players there. And once the main quest is over, his biggest hindrance will be gone, and he looked forward to his happy life in 3 days. Meanwhile, a man crashed on the ground. The system notified them of failure because all members of the Hydra Guild had died. Jaehyun watched the video and was dumbfounded. He threw his phone away. He lectured them that if they're going to do it soon, they should at least have a plan beforehand. He questioned why they had still done that when they're going to fail in an hour anyway. He asked himself if he had overestimated them. And now, he's considering looking for alternatives. Suddenly, his phone notified him of the live stream of Red Bulls. He remembered that it was Matador Chev's guild. Inside the game, Matador Chev saw that the field was being restored. With that said, he knew Hyra had failed the raid. He asked his soldiers if they saw what happened. He briefed them that the Count was a powerful enemy, powerful enough to even wipe out the Hydra Guild. Not only that, but they don't have enough backup supplies of items either. They had a very low chance at succeeding, but still. Red Bulls were determined to take on the challenge. Everyone was hyped up. Jae-hyun wondered if they're going to start right away. Even if that was the Red Bulls, that was still pretty impulsive. But to his surprise, the Red Bulls introduced someone who will join them on the raid. It was the Guildmaster of the Thunder Hunters, Thunder Queen Sira. Jae-hyun was surprised, then his brows furrowed. He didn't expect her. At the campsite, Matador Chev expressed that it was unexpected. He never expected the Thunder Queen herself to ask to meet first. He asked her if she's declaring war on them. She replied no, since they're allies at the moment. He truly doesn't believe her since one of his men, Kim's, was beaten up pretty badly. She replied that it was just their way of greeting them. Then she proceeded to the main agenda. She heard that he has information on the corrupt Count. Matador Chev tried to play dumb, but she expressed that she doesn't have the time to play games with him. She already confirmed that few people from the 30 guilds received information on the corrupt Count. Since someone like him couldn't even begin to track the town, the Count's whereabouts were able to do so. Even an idiot would notice. Matador Chev was cornered, so he just admitted to it. He clarified that he had no idea who exactly had the tip. Then she asked him if he thinks the Hydra Guild would be able to do it. He wasn't sure, but she's certain that they would fail. They rushed the raid date because they wanted to be the first ones. The corrupt Count was the first main quest boss, so it won't be easy. She stated that they would have better odds if they had let other guilds attempt it first and just gathered information. Matador Chev knew that she wasn't there just to talk about the Hydra Guild. He asked her what she's getting at. She smiled at him before stabbing the table. Kim's got ready to draw out his sword, but Matador Chev stopped him. He listened to her, suggesting that they work together for the corrupt Count raid. She promised him the first kill. This caught him off guard. He really thought she was bluffing, but she showed up, and she's got skills to walk the talk. However, the corrupt Count noticed them and acknowledged that they weren't so bad. The upper half body of this man was similar to the human body, but the lower half were just tentacles. He told them that they would crush their spirit completely. He called several monsters to attack them. The Red Bulls tried to hold them back. Matador Chev saw that their forces were reaching their limits. Siri complained that there's no end to them. She was surprised when Matador Chev arrived in front of her. He decided to open a path for her and urged her to leave at once. She charges towards the corrupt Count. Seeing her made the corrupt Count annoyed. She evades the tentacles, and when she was close enough, she jumped at him and declared that it's over, but she was caught off guard. The Count's tentacles had stabbed her. Matador Chev got worried for her. She coughed up blood, and for a moment she went limp, but she was still strong enough to cut those tentacles down, and the corrupt Count didn't expect that. She glared at him. Then she sliced him in half. It was really an epic moment for those who wanted the first kills of any boss monsters. Matador Chev was impressed, and he realized that she's scarier than he thought. The system notified that the Red Bulls and Thunder Hunters had defeated the corrupt Count. Jae-hyun couldn't believe that she had taken down the corrupt Count. He bit her lip in anger, but he decided to let it go. He just needed the corrupt Count defeated, and it doesn't matter who defeated him. He wished her to enjoy it while it lasted, because he will make sure that it would be the last one she'll ever get. He clenched his fist while thinking that the one who will win in the end would be him. At the Bulkas Mountains, the main character was introduced again. His name is An Jae-hyun, and his in-game name was Hirkan. He is a warlord gamer who was somehow reincarnated. His dream was to become the strongest in the game to take revenge on all the fuckers who screwed him over. But currently, he's being chased by wild boar monsters. He questioned why it kept happening to him every day. A few hours earlier, he finally arrived at his location, which was the blocked field. It was the Bulkas Mountains entrance. It was a blocked field until they met a certain condition. He was restricted from entry. But he already knew that the Bulkas Mountains was where the main questline of Chapter 2 happens. So once the Corrupt Count Chapter 1 questline was cleared, the entrance was automatically allowed. And just like that, he was able to enter. Hirkan had obtained the title, the first to step into the Bulkas Mountains. His stats increased by +2 and class-related stats by +1. He was glad to find out that nobody's figured it out yet. It was time for him and his skellies to head out. He declared that from then on, it was his time to shine. The wild boar at level 60, very ferocious monsters that move in groups, growled at him. Hykran was at level 41, so he was kind of starstruck, back to the present. The wild boars squealed loudly. Hirkan felt so unlucky for running into the boars just upon entering, and now he's being chased. He was certain that by then, some people had figured out that the blocked field had been opened by then. There was no time for him to waste. His chances were low, but he decided to still try. He needed to figure something out. He made the skeletons wear the horned helmet and charge ahead. The boar growled loudly, and in just one hit, they crushed the skeleton. The system notified Hirkan that the skeleton warrior had been destroyed after taking too much damage. He couldn't believe that it happened in just one hit. But that was just a bait. He activated the curse of sloth, which immobilized those wild boars for a while. He estimated it to be around 5 seconds. Then he took out his sword, then attacked them as payback for destroying his skeleton. But unexpectedly, he stepped on a banana peel and slipped. To make it more pathetic, the banana peel fell on his head. His face was flushed from embarrassment. The monkey on the branch laughed at him. This was an armor monkey at level 50. It was a monster that likes to play pranks on humans. He was annoyed. He cursed at it and yelled at it to come down. At the same time, while he had his back turned from the wild boars, the curse of sloth was lifted. He knew that was bad. Suddenly, a blue light shone brightly, and it turned out to be a laser that made half of the boar's face vanish from the hit. Hirkan was surprised and confused. He saw a silhouette on the tree where the arrow from the crossbow was released. As it rained down arrows, the wild boars died. He couldn't believe that they killed all of those boars with a single shot. Then the person asked if he's hurt. Hirkan had a feeling on who this man was. He's a middle-aged man, black hair that goes to his neck, and he had a scar on his left eye. Meanwhile, at the Tsuryu castle, a player tapped his friend to look at something. They saw a man wearing a full white Mamba armor set. It was a super expensive armor set. They wondered if he's a ranker since they had never seen him before. The man was alone, but he spoke, asking if they found the identity of the reporter. He was talking to Michelle, who was hiding in the dark alleyway behind him. She replied that none of the guilds knew who sent the information, and it made sense since, after all, they were talking about a person who knows the identity of the corrupt count, but willingly gave that information for free. It made her wonder how they're going to find that person. Then the man in expensive armor asked about Ha-Ho Mask. Michelle replied that he's only been uploading normal hunting videos. She added that there's no way a newbie who just started the main quest line could be the one behind the whole thing. Michael asked where the man was next for his helper job. He replied that it would be at Sweeper's Guild. Michael wasn't looking forward to getting busy again. He replied that he would take care of the helper job while she focuses on finding the person. He doesn't know who it was, but he will make sure to make them pay for destroying the balance of the world. At a cabin in the forest, Hirkan was asked if he's a disciple of Ahimbri. He replied yes. He felt so good that he got lucky. He never thought he'd run into Ma-Wung. He's the main NPC of the Chapter 2's main quest line. He was relieved to have found him in time while he was doing his rounds. Even though Ma-Wung was skilled enough to have been the swordsmanship instructor of the prince in the past, he was kicked out due to an unfortunate event. After that, he became the captain of the rangers that protect the Bulkas Mountains. He was an NPC he had to meet for Chapter 2. Hirkan felt so happy to run into him until Ma-Wung advised him to head back. He had to double-check what he just said. Ma-Wung had no idea why he's there, but told him that the place has nothing other than monsters, so he should just go back to where he came from before anything happens to him. Hirkan replied that the corrupt count was dead. In his head, there was no use trying to act hard to get it because he already knew how to make his way into Chapter 2, so he revealed that there were still corrupt monsters roaming around. He explained that he was tracing the cause and ended up there. He asked if he knew anything about it. Ma-Wung replied that he had someone in mind, although he doesn't have any evidence yet. He asked Hirkan if he could help him collect the evidence. With that, the system notified Hirkan that he obtained the title, the first to come in contact with a Bulkas Ranger and Initiator. All his stats increased by plus 14. He was so happy that he got 2 rare titles. He eagerly replied that he can trust him with it. He asked what he should do first. Ma-Wung told him to calm down first. He wanted him to investigate the monsters near the area. He had defeated 1 out of 50 already. The reward for this was 500 gold and Ma-Wung's trust. With that, he left the cabin. Monster hunting was great because he also needed to level up. He planned to leave the higher-level monsters like wild boars and bear warriors for later and start with easier ones. And that left him with the armor monkey. He started plotting how to pay that bastard back. At the forest, a man had slipped. and his head was about to drop on a spike. A female mage also slipped from a banana peel, and the armor monkey laughed at them so hard he saw another person approaching. It readied its banana peel. Before it could throw it, Hirkin showed up and found it. The monkey was surprised. It knew it was in trouble. Hirkin warned that it's dead now. Our boy then prepared his sword and tried to slash the armor monkeys, but it evaded and fell off a branch. But it was quick to pivot and jump to another tree, and it made him annoyed. He finds them annoying because they were quick, and the trees were getting in his way so he can't attack properly. And since that was the case, he lifted his sword and threw it instead. The monkey sensed it coming. It got frightened. It braced itself for the impact. But the sword missed it by an inch. Because of that, it teased Hirkin. But Hirkan wasn't bothered, because the sword was a feint. The golem appeared from behind and punched the tree. It was so powerful that it wrecked everything in front. Hirkan watched from the branch. With that, he obtained the title, the first to hunt down an armor monkey. He was glad and motivated to hunt down more of them. Meanwhile, several cameras shoot a video. Matador Chev and Thunder Queen Sari waved at the cameras. They congratulated them for successfully completing the raid of the first chapter's boss. A reporter asked the Thunder Queen to ask if she had anything to say. She smiled and stated that they got lucky, and they would continue working hard to bring good results in the future. But behind the camera, she was scowling. She walked the hallway with Thunder Princess Hahui. She expressed how she thought they were done when the final wave of monsters came. But then Thunder Queen Sari rushed forward and single-handedly defeated the corrupt count. It made her squeal, but Sari replied that she just got lucky. She added that they wouldn't have been able to do it if the Red Bulls weren't there. So she was thinking in order for them to achieve complete victory, they would need Ha-Ho Mask's skills. She ordered Hahui to contact Hatch. Hahui questioned why she needed that loser. She replied that there's something they need to hunt down. At the same time, in the forest, a sword broke. The system informed Hirkan that the durability of the gear has reached 0 and has been destroyed. Since his sword reached its limit, he thought of looking into some new equipment. But the problem was, he doesn't have any money for that. He had no choice but to go for the gems. He's talking about the monster gems. It had a very low chance of being dropped from monsters. Those gems are used to make items. Green Goblin's gem increases dexterity by +1, Werewolf's gem attack +2, and they have additional effects depending on the monster that drops them. The gem dropped from armor monkeys was great for crafting gear. He had made up his mind. From then on, they will hunt every last armor monkey. 9 hours later, there was still no drop. He expected it to have been dropped already. Even when he was so tired, he couldn't just give up, until someone called out to him and recognized that he was Hey-Ho Mask. He wondered who that person was. The man was decked out with a full set of expensive fire lizard gear and an orc hero's sword, so it means they're at least level 70. He thought it would be someone from the helper's side. The man introduced himself as Quixote. Then, out of nowhere, he made a crazy pose, and another while he challenges him to an official duel. Hirkan was irked by him. Quixote heard that he's popular on WTube, which means beating him would make him popular. Hirkan classified him as an attention-seeking loser, so he turned his back and told him to fuck off since he's busy. He was already pissed that the gem wasn't dropping, and now some crazy idiot bothered him, but Quixote begged him. He promised him 5,000 gold if he fights him. It made Hirkan stop walking away. He turned to him and happily welcomed his customer. Now, he loves those attention seekers. Quixote, he was known as the hero of justice. He almost had his own comics. But no, the story still revolves around the Emperor of Solo Play. Quixote was a hero who was always at the center of attention, no matter what game he played, or that's what he was supposed to be. But in Warlord, no one paid much attention to him. He was trying to speak, but people talked about Ha-Ho Mask. They got excited about him, but it left Quixote unseen. He was so angry. He was buried beneath him because they started at the same time. He wondered why everyone loves him when he's a lower level than him and doesn't even have good items. He ran without thinking and ended up in the forest. His attention was caught by a loud laugh. He saw Hey-Ho Mask and his skeletons. He wondered if he's hunting there. Then he thought of something. That if he uploads a video of him defeating Hey-Ho Mask, he might be able to steal all of his fame, which was why he challenged him to a duel, and he'll give him 5,000 gold if he wins. Hirkan was so confused on why he's stripping when he said he wanted to fight. He replied that it was to have a fair fight, and he also knew that Hirkan's weapon broke too. What Quixote wanted was a fair and square one-on-one. He wouldn't want anyone to say that he only won because of his gear. So he challenged him to give his all. Hirkan felt embarrassed for him. He might not be able to take him seriously when dressed like that. But Quixote just charges at him and tried to punch him, but he was able to duck. He lectured him to listen when others were talking. Quixote punched and kicked him, but he evaded it all. Quixote yelled at him to stop being so defensive and fight him. Hirkan challenged him to make him. So, Quixote activated his skill. It boosted his punch. Hirkan didn't expect that. He blocked it with his arms, but he still lost his balance and crashed on the ground. What he used was a booster, a warrior-class skill that accelerates one's movement for an instant. He realized that even though the guy looked like an idiot, he's still at a higher level than he was. He knows he won't stand a chance if he faces him head-on. It made him think of something. Quixote noticed that he's already willing to fight him. He encouraged him to come at him with everything he got. Then he will overcome him. To let everyone know that he was stronger than him, he used the booster again. But he was caught off guard. Hirkan blinded him using dirt. Then he kicked his feet, so Quixote lost balance and fell. He groaned in pain. Hirkan told him that if his strength stat was higher than his, he just needed to outclass him with his skills. He punched him on the jaw and sent him flying to the opposite side. Quixote called him a coward and questioned how that was a skill. He replied that no one cares when he's fighting with his life on the line. He told him that he lost because he would rather stick to his character than focus on winning. Hirkan activated the skill called skin stitching and used the item armor monkey's hide. Hirkan was enhanced with the attributes of an armor monkey. Quixote was overwhelmed. He knew that if he got hit, he'd definitely die. Hirkan told him that he started the fight so he should be ready for that kind of outcome. He got scared and told him to wait. He cried and surrendered. But Hirkan still unleashed his powerful attack, though he didn't direct him just an inch away from his face. His attack was so powerful that it made a path on the ground. Quixote trembled. He was so terrified that he almost forgot that he was just inside a game. Hirkan concluded that he won. He had this devilish smile as he demanded the 5,000 gold. He knew that Quixote wouldn't want to be forcefully logged out for 2 days, so he suggested that we end it at that. But Quixote said that he's cool. He removed his helmet and it showed an expression of admiration. Hirkan was irked and confused about what was wrong with him. Then Quixote admits defeat and gives him the 5,000 gold that he promised, plus his sword. Hirkan shivered upon receiving the orc hero's sword. He was delighted. This sword had plus 66 strength, plus 66 stamina, and 9% ignored defense, so it would go for at least 15,000 gold in auction, and he gave him that. It made his cheeks red, but he was also curious why he would give that. Quixote told him to consider it as a token of his gratitude. He realized that he had been so blinded by gaining popularity the entire game that he had been slacking on actually getting stronger. He encouraged him to take it, and announced that he's worthy of becoming his brother. Hirkan didn't expect that. In his head, he may look like an idiot, but he actually had a cool side. He knew Quixote was expecting that kind of response from him, but instead, he kicked him and told him to fuck off. Then he ordered his skellies to get him. It made Quixote scream out loud. He was bruised all over, and yet he still declared that he will return once he's worthy of becoming his brother. He looked forward to meeting him again. Hirkan tied him to a cross and left. To him, he's a crazy bastard. Although, he noticed that Quixote was having fun with the game, which sounded nice. After that, Hirkan appreciated that he got a good sword. That ended his hunt for armor monkeys. He now had enough to take on the next quest. But he thought of something, and that was to hunt down 100 more armor monkeys. He could feel the drop would come this time. The skellies held him back. Gambling could really be addicting. Just to recap, the Orc Hero's sword was a rare item that gives plus 66 strength, plus 66 stamina, and 9% ignore monster defense. Moments later, Hirkan got 3 cards. After 950 armor monkeys, 104 tooth wolves, and 76 poison lizards, Ma Wung praised him for the work. Then he informed him that the investigation has been progressing smoothly thanks to him. But Ma Wung was bothered by his expression, though. He looked like a giddy kid. He apologized and admitted that he was just thinking about where he should spend the money that he got. Ma Wung told him to pay attention, since the next mission will be an especially dangerous one. He pointed at the map and told him that near the mountain's peak, a bear warrior had appeared. Bear warriors were around 4 meters tall, and they were even equipped with armor like the human warriors. Ma Wung told him that if he can figure out where they're getting their weapons, it will be a big help in discovering the identity of the corrupt one. In other words, Ma Wung wanted him to defeat them and bring back one of their weapons. This veteran asked him if he'd be fine alone. Even rangers have trouble with them alone, so he suggested for him to look for other people, but Hirkan replied that he'll be fine. He already knew how to deal with them anyways. After that, our MC set out and checked the map. Then, he was ready to flex just a little bit. He had opened the auction window, which enabled him to participate in auctions with other users. He checked the best item he can afford at his current level, and he saw the skeleton snake set. He bought the shoulder guard, the boots, the gloves, and more. This gives him plus 70 defense, plus 34 mana, plus 34 strength. Mana usage was reduced by 10% when the full set was equipped. He had spent 37,896 gold. It made him giggle. The joy made him breakdance while feeling good with having so much money. Then he planned to buy all the skill books within his level range with all his remaining money. He bought Corrosion Spirit, Blind, Muscle Modification, Fake Heart, Bone Bomb, and Hardening. In total, he spent 17,593 gold. He was a bit far from the Bear Warrior's level, but his items were enough. A skeleton tapped him on the shoulder and looked at him expectantly. He forgot about them earlier, so he looked at the shop again. But this time, it says that he had insufficient balance. He was surprised to find out that he already used all his money. He told the guys that he's out of money, and the skeleton's attitude evidently changed. He tried to explain himself and promised them that he'd buy them something once he has the money. Then he stated that he'd get more money once they hunt down the monster. It motivated the skeletons to fight. Hirkan felt relieved that the wild boar just happened to pass by at the right time. He noticed how his skellies were obsessed with gear. A few moments later, the skeletons looked hopeful, while the last remaining wild boar was left terrified. Because the skeletons approached with murderous aura, they were just teasing it. Hirkan told them to stop wasting time and finish it already. He told them he'd get them geared up on the way. Unexpectedly, something hit the wild boar. Hirkan panicked on what that was. Some men appeared and questioned him for hunting there without permission. They declared that the area belonged to the Apollo Guild. It was just another group of losers. Those men were half naked. 2 of them were bald, while the other one had black hair. They introduced themselves as Ajang, Iljan, and Wang Zhang, and they were the trio of the Apollo Guild. Hirkan simply smiled at them, and in a blink of an eye, he slashed them. He was annoyed that some losers tried to piss him off. It made him curious why he's attracting so many people like that recently. He started considering visiting a shaman or something. He just wasted time, so they left at once. But Wang Zhang was still conscious and wanted him to pay. Meanwhile, a man with several rings and a tiger as a pet was informed. He couldn't believe that the guy still attacked his underlings, even after hearing his name. The informant confirmed that. He threw gold at him and ordered him to bring the guy whatever it costs. He vowed to make the guy pay for looking down at his name. Meanwhile, Hirkan was impressed at his new location. He finally arrived at the area where the Bear Warrior appeared. He looked at his skeletons to ask if they're ready, and it was funny how those skeletons made poses to flex their gear. He hit them on the head and scolded them for messing around. They will be hunting a Bear Warrior. It's at level 70 and there are 3 phases, so they need to prepare themselves for the battle. But once they hunt it down, they'll be able to get ahead of the top 30 guilds in terms of main quest progression. He expects it to be perfect. The Skellies showed that they understood by giving him a salute. He told them to do what they had practiced. But speaking of the devil, it arrived. The skeletons got excited. It was gigantic and menacing. Our boy tapped his watch and activated slot on. I always loved this transformation. He didn't even look bothered that a beast was already looming over him. Hirkan was ready to take the main quest all by himself. Meanwhile, Hatch saw the Bulka's mountains at a distance. He hoped Hey-Ho Mask was still there. He went there as soon as he watched the Armor Monkey video. He checked the trail and lost it. He complained why he's the one that needs to do that. He was supposed to be an important person, and yet they sent him there to catch some rookie, and was told to force Hey-Ho Mask if he doesn't want to come. It's a borderline crime. While he's complaining, the King Wild Boar at level 64 appeared behind him. It made this loud pig noise. But without even looking at it, he burned it and left the roasted boar. He had this sullen expression when he stated that he wanted to quit. This person was Ballista Hatch. He ranked 5th among the mages in Warlord. He sighed and wished that Heiho Mask would show himself already. The bear warrior roared loudly. Before Hirkon's regression, when he tried that raid with his guild members, they failed 6 times before barely defeating it. But if he messes up again this time, someone else might steal the lead on the main quest. To land an effective hit on the bear warrior, he had to target the seams of its armor and strip off its equipment. He believed he could do it since he prepared new skills for it. He told the skeletons to follow him once he gave the signal. He was about to use his newly learned passive skill, muscle modification. He charges really fast, but flunked, and he doesn't know how to stop. Even the bear was dumbfounded. But it didn't take a minute for the bear to get back to its senses and destroy the skeleton warrior. He used muscle modification where it enhances leg strength for faster, more powerful movement. It was good, but it was too much. He cursed out loud and decided to use that acceleration to attack. But it failed. He got stuck on the bear's fur. He felt comfortable from how soft and squishy it was. The bear threw him away and he crashed on a boulder. The muscle reinforcement was too strong and he couldn't control it. But still, he managed to stop off one side of the bear's armor. But it didn't matter because the skill was so crappy, because he can't even land a proper hit. The warrior bear attacked him. He thought of a way to counterattack. He used the bone bomb, which generates a magic bomb. The area where the bear was exploded, but the bear came out fine. He got annoyed at this tough bastard, which made him give up on direct damage. He used mana to heal the skeleton warriors, and decided to fight like a proper necromancer. But his skeletons doubted him. He promised them that he'd do it properly this time. He also called his golem to work too. It came out of the ground. Then it attacked the bear. The bear split it in half. Hirkan got him. Hardening skill hardens the golem's body. The bear's weapon was stuck between the dent in the golem's body. While that sword won't be moving for a while, he lets those skeletons charge. The skeletons charge at the bear and hit it. The bear growled loudly. Hirkan stated that he had one big move left. The wave of fire engulfed them. Him and the bear were left dumbfounded. He scolded the mage skeleton for getting him caught up. Bear Warrior had used the skill battle cry, and it recovered 50% HP. A bear attacked from behind. Hirkan sighed and commented that the strategy was useless. He believes that brute force with numbers always wins. He made the bear explode. The skeletons watched him, while he wreaks havoc like a lunatic. A few moments later, he successfully slain the Bear Warrior. He had gained experience points and had earned 101,354 gold. He had completed the quest, Ma Wung's Trial. His guild struggled with that bear before his regression, but he was able to solo it this time. He realized he wasn't wrong. He praised his skeletons for their work. After that, he planned to return to Ma Wung and start the next quest. He was happy to announce that the Bear Warrior extermination had been completed. The skeletons talked among themselves that he was cowardly since he didn't even fight properly. He yelled at them to shut up and blamed them for not doing the raid properly. At Bulkin Western Base Tavern, Hatch sat quietly in the corner. He sighed deeply. He looked unwell because he knew he was doomed for not being able to find Heiho Mask. He had been combing the mountains for days, but Heiho Mask was nowhere to be found. To make matters worse, that video of him went viral, so now Bulkus was swarming with people, making him even harder to find. He knew that if he went back empty-handed, Sari would kill him. He complained that it's unreasonable to ask someone to search an entire mountain alone. He called the Thunder Hunters a damned black company. Suddenly, he received a call from Sari. It shocked him to the point that he almost turned into a ghost. He was terrified when he answered the call, but Sari told him that he had done great work. She realized that she gave him something too much to handle. She knew that searching an entire mountain alone was a lot, even for him. She emphasized that he must have had a hard time. He felt so touched. He replied that it was fine, then he asked if he could return. Surprisingly, she replied that she will send Hahui to help him. He hadn't processed that information yet when an explosion happened behind him. A hole was created on the wall. Sari told him that they should work together to find Heiho Mask properly. Hahui called him an idiot. She was angry that she got dragged there too. Her nickname was Mad Dog, and one of the things she disliked was Hatch. Hatch could only curse in his head. There's more people at Bulkus now. There was even a village. It made sense. Hirkan thinks that it's about time people realized that it's where their next main questline was. He decided to hurry back to Ma-wung. He leapt from one tree to another. To his surprise, 3 half-naked men approached him. He noticed that they looked similar from those guys before. He wondered if they're coming to get revenge. He was so annoyed. He urged them to attack him all at once, but those guys just passed by at him. Those men screamed for help. Hirkan was confused because he didn't even do anything to them, but those men got hit right before his eyes. He couldn't believe it. Hahui commented that they were pathetic for begging their enemy to spare their life. Hirkan saw Hahui and Hatch. He saw their crest and identified that they were from the Thunder Hunters. Hahui pointed her sword at him and asked if he was Ha-Ho Mask. Hahui was the Thunder Hunters' rank 2. Her nickname was Thunder Princess, aka Mad Dog. She was a loyal mad dog who wouldn't hesitate to go to the depths of hell if Seri told her to. The other person was Thunder Hunters' rank 3, Hatch. His nickname was Ballista. He was a genius mage who never lets a target go. Those guys were a pain in the ass, even in his previous life. He can't believe that he ran into them. He realized that since they were looking for Ha-Ho Mask, they must have been trying to recruit him to their guild. He'd kill both of them if he could, but at the moment he knew it was impossible. If that was the case, he played dumb. He asked them who the Ha-Ho Mask was. He decided to pretend not to know, and they wouldn't be able to do anything without evidence. He tried to act like a stupid person picking his nose, but Ha-Hui closed the gap in a blink of an eye and called him a liar. She doubted that he doesn't know Ha-Ho Mask when he's already in the Bulkas area, and the man got over 20 million views already. She finds him suspicious, and his hood reminded her of Ha-Ho Mask. She asked him again if it was him. Hatch stopped her and told her that it wasn't the problem. And at the top of his lungs, he screamed that she was the problem. She destroyed an inn and killed people out of suspicion. He had no idea how to clean up that mess. He shook her violently. Everyone knows about their guild, so they can't pretend like nothing happened. He urged her to apologize quickly before their guild's reputation takes a hit because of her. She refused to apologize, though. Watching them made Hirkan wonder if they were always like that. She was annoyed when she apologized. Then she asked Hatch if he's happy now. He couldn't believe her attitude. He was the one who apologized properly in her stead. Then he wished to be excused. Hiren was relieved he got away from them. To his surprise, though, a fist was approaching his face. She packed a punch and made him fly. Hatch screamed out loud and asked why she hit him. Poor guy, he was so stressed. She simply responded that she thought he'd be able to dodge that. Hirkan couldn't believe that she hit an innocent user who had his guard down. Hatch was worried, but Hirkan only told them that he'd be filing a formal complaint against the Thunder Hunters Guild. He told them that he'd create a community post about it, saying that the Thunder Hunter was an evil guild that attacks newbies for fun. Hatch was horrified. He offered to compensate him. He gave him a pouch full of gold coins. Hirkan saw it was 1,000 gold and decided to let him off the hook this time. Hatch thanked him for that. Then he dragged Hahui away. He complained that she's killing her with her temper. In all honesty, Hirkan was pissed off, but it was the best that he could do at the moment. He knew not to get on their nerves at the moment. He just needed to wait a little longer. Meanwhile, Hatch asked Hahui why she caused trouble wherever they went. He asked her if she doesn't understand that it is important for large guilds like them to maintain a good reputation. Hahui was puzzled because usually people instinctively try to dodge when an attack comes at them. Hatch took it that she's saying that it was his fault for not being able to dodge her attack, but she clarified that it was not that. She thinks that the guy looked annoyed by it, so she finds him suspicious. Hatch begged her to stop causing trouble. She told him to shut up and not tell her what to do. He complained that she's taking off years of his life. Meanwhile, in another setting, Ma-wung saw a portion of the bear warrior. He knew that something was strange. He thanked him because there would have been more casualties had it not been for him. He asked if he's all right, but Hirkan looked anxious. He wants him to hurry, otherwise the top 30 guilds would catch up to him. Ma-wung took out a treasure chest. He opened it and told him to choose one. It contained maps of monster dungeons that he created during the time he worked at the Bulkas Mountains. Hirkan realized something, that those were treasure maps, and those treasure maps mark all the dungeons that he could get reward from. But in return, Ma-wung had a favor to ask. Hirkan was annoyed, but he knew the guy wouldn't give that away for free. He heard that armored monsters were appearing beyond the Bulksan mountain region, so he wanted Hirkan to investigate that as well. He asked where the region was. He told him that it was the Parung forest. Hurkan grits his teeth while his brows furrow. It made Ma Wung ask if there was a problem. He replied no. But eventually it left him sighing out loud, because Parung Forest was a level 90 area, which means that he had to level up more on the way there. He thought of Sura Canyon to be his perfect hunting ground at the moment, since there were level 75 demon worshippers there. He was optimistic that since he already defeated bear warriors, those guys wouldn't be too hard. But on his way, he turned pale. Matador Shev was there, and the guy saw him. Meanwhile, Hatch cries to Sari. He complained that he couldn't handle it any longer. She praised them for their hard work. Hatch clarified that he's not saying that he doesn't want to do it, but apparently the Red Bulls had already taken over the Sura Canyon. He suggested that they focus on the main quest line. He asked why they had to recruit someone who didn't want to join. She told them that they could stop looking for Hey-Ho Mask and they would focus on the main storyline from then on. Hatch looked so relieved. Their call ended. Sari leaned back on the sofa. She believed that the strongest were bound to cross paths with one another. She wanted to see how much longer Hey-Ho Mask could run away from her. It was funny how the Skellies were bummed that they had no appearance for this chapter. The demon goat at level 75 made a loud noise. Suddenly, it was sliced in half. It was done by one of Hurkan's skeleton warriors. The system notified him of several levels up. He reached level 62 now. He used all stat points on strength. Several men were behind him. They looked at him with flushed cheeks. They wondered if he's Ha-Ho Mask. When they had determined that he was him, they crowd around him and hugged and kissed him. They expressed how they love him. Feeling uncomfortable, Hurkan ran away from them as soon as possible. But they chased after him. It started with his video during Bear Warrior solo raid. He was delighted that the Bear Warrior video was a hit. But some unwanted consequences followed. People chased him everywhere he went, and he couldn't focus on hunting anymore. He told the Skellies that the plans had changed. They headed to Sura Canyon immediately. The monsters there were high level, so he's certain that people won't be there. But he saw Matador Shev there. Matador Shev noticed him and greeted him that it had been a long time since they had seen each other. Hurkan was so annoyed that he appeared now. Matador Shev remembered him from the beginner's village. He expressed that he was embarrassed after he left without saying anything. He saw that Hurkan had leveled up. He remembered him being in the beginner's village a few months ago, but now he's already in Sura Canyon. Hurkan asked him what brought him there. He didn't think that a ranker like him would be there. Matador Shev informed him that they started taking control of Sura Canyon yesterday. They thought it would be a good idea to have a base close to where the main questline was. Hurkan realized that they were also doing the main questline. Matador Shev was also hoping to find Ha-Ho Mask there. Upon hearing that, Hurkan's jaw dropped. Matador Shev asked him if he had watched the Bear Warrior raid yet. He heard rumors of him being near the region, so he was hanging out there. Matador Shev asked him if he's also curious about who he was. He invited him to find Ha-Ho Mask. Hurkan simply ran away while yelling that he didn't even know who that was. After running for quite some time, he was breathless. He's annoyed that everyone was hunting him down. First, it was Seolyon. Now it was Shev. 2 of the top 30 guilds were going after him. He complained that at this rate, he won't even be able to level up properly. He thought of moving somewhere else, but it was already the best place in the area. Then he remembered the map he got from Ma Wung. He checked the rare dungeon in the area and found it on the map. Rare dungeons were places that were hard to get to, just like the place he found. It was a waterfall. He knows it won't be easy, but he thinks that it's a good risk for high reward. He inhaled deeply. Then he dove under the water. His breathing was restricted while underwater. He had 20 seconds left. If the map was correct, the hidden dungeon should be there. He just hoped that he would get there in time. At this point, there's just 11 seconds left. He eventually found it. 5 seconds on the clock, and he was still far. At 1 second, he's already close. He surfaced, just on time. He was able to enter the dungeon and gain the title, The One Who Uncovered the Secret. Then he also obtained the title, Dungeon Explorer. The area was filled with crystals. Hurkan was glad his idea worked. From then on, if people bothered him, he just needed to go somewhere where no one could find him. He wondered what kinds of monsters would appear. Since it's a hidden dungeon, he's certain that they're pretty strong. They stopped on their tracks. An eye watched them. He checked what it was, and he saw a green slime. He was dumbfounded. There was an awkward silence, before he bursts out of anger that the monsters were just low level. The skeletons held him in place. Then he noticed that the slime was producing flames. He realized that there could be spirit-type monsters in there. Spirit-type monsters are those types of monsters that were very rare in Warlord. The items they dropped were used as ingredients for elemental items, so they were popular, which means that he could get filthy rich with them. Immediately, he ordered the skellies to get every single one of them. The slime compressed itself. Then the ground shook. Hurkan got alarmed, because a level 70 salamander appeared. It was a flame-type mid-rank spirit monster. He didn't expect that. The salamander created flames on its mouth and unleashed it. Hurkan and the skeleton ran as fast as they could. But really, a full flame attack was insane. He had no choice, so before it got problematic, he would use an item that he had been saving up for emergencies. It was the horns called the Madness Helm. He also equipped them with bone armor, and the Black Orc's skull was expensive, but he bought it to strengthen the skeleton. Now, our little skelly has been upgraded from Skeleton Warrior to Skeleton Knight. The slime and salamander was surprised to see that menacing skeleton. It pointed its sword at them and moved at the speed of light, and left those monsters cut into pieces. Hurkan was proud of it. His Skeleton Knight in action. A herd of salamanders appeared. It was a battle against them. The salamander herd roared simultaneously. Being up against them, Hurkan chose the Skeleton Warrior, and it turned those herds into pieces. With that, he had defeated the salamander and obtained experience points. The Skeleton Warrior poses to look cool, while the other skeletons adore it. Hurkan loved auto-hunting. Now that he upgraded a skeleton, they can hunt automatically for him. And because salamander essence was worth more than he expected, it's more than enough to make up for the upgrade cost. He just needs to continue this until he upgraded all of the skeletons. With enthusiasm, he told them that they would keep going until they cleared the boss so they can go to the Perung Forest. 1 hour later, he felt that it was too easy, and at this point, he had discovered an instance dungeon, Throne Room. It's not good news since he has no idea what's in there, and he won't be able to go back once he's inside. If he goes there and fails, he won't be able to play for 2 days. That's more than enough time for either the Thunder Hunters or the Red Bulls to get ahead of him in the main quest line. But it was not like there's anywhere else he can go around there. Guess he had no choice. So if that's the case, he could only rely on his own luck. He entered the throne room. There were statues of knights, so it must have been an abandoned temple. All of those statues had blade marks on them. Hurkan could tell something was off. Then he noticed something. There was a knight on the throne, but it was still. Then it glowed brightly. That didn't look good. Hurkan immediately called his skeletons to hurry up and get into defense. But before they could do so, they were cut in half. The skeleton warriors had been destroyed after taking too much damage. Hurkan cursed out loud. He didn't expect that thing to appear there. It was a spirit knight in level 80. It was a monster equipped with the highest quality battle AI. He ran into it before in his previous life. He was around the same level he was back then, and the entire Ha-Ho Mask Guild was there. But they were completely annihilated. He had no choice but to give up back then. But he can't let that happen again. He called the skeletons. He decided to go full force from the start. The skeleton warrior prepared its sword, and it attacked. It got one of the skeletons. Then Hurkan charges at it. His sword was simultaneously blocked together with the skeleton warrior, while the other skeleton went behind the spirit knight and stabbed it from behind. The skeleton looked proud of himself, but Hurkan immediately called it to get away. The skeleton was about to be hit. Then a huge explosion followed that even knocked Hurkan on his feet. With it, the skeleton warrior had been destroyed. Hurkan realized that a stab through the heart wasn't a critical strike on the spirit knight. The spirit knight saw him. Hurkan was in a pinch, because normal skeletons or the golems won't be useful there. He's starting to think that he had no chance. Back then, someone asked him if he's out of his mind. That caught his attention. It was the leader of the guild. He asked Hurkan as to why he would charge straight at a monster 4 times his size. Hurkan doesn't really know, though if he had to give a reason, he simply thought that he wouldn't have any dinner unless he got the guy. The leader looked disappointed with his logic and called him an idiot. He remembered himself that he's not the type to think while playing the game. If he can't land any critical hits, he just needs to keep dealing damage. His attack worked, so he just needs to keep it up. But he noticed that the guy was speeding up, and as it attacked him, it continued to glow brighter. Hurkan eventually coughed blood, but he had this small smile on his face. That was just a feint, and he was able to deflect its sword. Then the skeleton warrior showed up behind the spirit knight and slashed its arm. Hurkan's plan worked. It was no longer holding its sword. Hurkan stated that he won't have any dinner if he doesn't defeat it. Meanwhile, at the Sura Canyon village, Matador Shev looked around and commented that the village was doing better than he expected. Yell was confident with that since it was the Red Bulls who managed the area. They secured a good supply route to ensure that they don't run out of supplies. That makes Matador Chev hopeful that Ha-Ho Mask would come there. Yell noticed that he had been talking about Ha-Ho Mask a lot recently. She doesn't understand it when all he did was hunt down some low-level monsters. He replied that it might be low-level for them, but to Ha-Ho Mask, they're high-level. In the game where only pain was felt, only two types of people would dare to challenge monsters stronger than them. Either they're crazy or they're natural-born warriors, and Ha-Ho Mask was both. The two normal skeletons appeared feeling sad that they don't do much this chapter. The body part where the arm was cut off glowed in orange, and it formed some kind of blade. Hurkan couldn't believe that losing an arm wasn't a big deal to it. Now he's annoyed. He took a deep breath in and exhaled. Then simultaneously with his skeleton warrior, he rushed towards it. Given its stance, the Spirit Knight was prepared for a counterattack, and it made the ground crumble, blasting Hurkan and the skeleton warrior away. It was really trying to bury him alive. He called his skelly to keep moving forward, and he was able to slash it. The skeleton knight was successful too. They surrounded it. Hurkan was glad that his plan was working. He just needed to increase the damage. Then he'd win. The Spirit Knight's color started to change. It became orange, like it was angry, and fiercer too. It surrounded itself with fire so Hurkan and the skeleton warrior couldn't get close. Hurkan didn't like that it even got stronger. Then it charges ahead. Hurkan blocked its blade, but he could tell that its attacks were completely different from earlier. He grits his teeth and yelled that he had enough. He pushed it back. Then he told the skeleton warrior that they're moving to the next phase. But before he could finish his order, he got slashed and was blasted away. He got too focused on controlling the skeletons. He was in a bad situation when the Spirit Knight was about to attack again. Something moved really fast. It was the skeleton knight. It used its body to shield him from the attack. Hurkan was in a state of shock. The skeleton knight has been destroyed. It glanced at him, and as it slowly vanishes after taking too much damage, it gave him a thumbs up. He watched it disappear. It made him so angry. Hurkan then activated bone bombs and made the sides of the Spirit Knight explode, but it manages to attack him so fast. Hurkan held on a little longer. He released bone bombs again and made the area explode, but he knew that wasn't enough. He needed to do it one more time. He was caught off guard when it appeared from the thick smoke. He saw the incoming attack. He's well aware that spirit-type monsters don't take much magic damage even so he used the bone bomb. It was because he mixed a bit of skeleton fragments into those bombs. He snapped his finger and activated skeleton fragments max summon. With the newly summoned skellies, they were able to hold the Spirit Knight in its place. Our boy then declared that the fight was over. The normal skeletons held down the Spirit Knight in its place, while Hurkan slashed it all over its body. After that, he landed safely on his feet, and the system notified him that he had defeated the Spirit Knight. He obtained 455,663 gold, the title Chivalrous Spirit, Spirit Knight Armor Fragment, and some experience points to level up. His brows furrow when he remembered his guild members from his past life saying that there's no way they could have defeated the Spirit Knight and that they blamed him for getting killed. The skeleton warrior noticed his expression and gave him a thumbs up. He realized that it was different from back then. He praised the skellies for their job, and they all looked touched. Then Hurkan noticed that the dungeon wasn't letting him leave. It made him think if there's another boss monster. Suddenly, he sensed something, and when he looked back, it was a reward room that appeared randomly. He called all the gods and thanked them while rushing towards the room. He was in bliss as he looked forward to seeing the rewards. Sadly, he only received an old book. It was research records on ancient power. It was related to the main storyline, but he read it so many times in his past life that he already memorized it. He was so disappointed to get a trash item in a reward room. He wanted money or cool weapons instead. Something was illuminated in the room, and it caught his attention. After that, he headed to the Parung forest. Hurkan went there to level up and now he's ready to go back to the main quest line. He called his skellies, and they all looked calm with their new equipment. Look at them skellies now. They were all upgraded to skeleton knights. He could tell how excited they were with their weird poses, but he can't blame them because it was unexpected in the reward room. He was given the armament, an overpowered skill that allows him to equip his gear on his summons. This means that he can upgrade his skeletons regardless of his level, but of course it will cost him a fortune to buy all that gear. He told them that they should be worth it, otherwise he'd leave them behind. Unexpectedly, someone clapped their hands and expressed that he was impressive, and Ha Ho Mask was just as the rumors say. They expected him to be curious about who they were. One guy with a mustache and sunglasses told him that they live by romance and die by romance. They flexed their muscles while introducing themselves as the romantic outlaws, the R2 family. Hirkan started to think that only weirdos play the game. Funnily, it was 3 seconds until he started to uninstall the game. Hirkan, together with his skellies, left. The men from the R2 family noticed how he's walking so fast, but it was expected from someone as skilled as him. He's starting to get annoyed. The R2 family followed him, but they were unable to keep up with him, so they told him to slow down. He yelled at those idiots to fuck off, but they wouldn't because he hasn't given them a response yet. They invited him to join them. Earlier, they officially introduced themselves. They were training to become level 100 in the Purung Forest, but the monsters were too strong for them. And they weren't strong enough to hunt the monsters in the area, which is why they went around looking for more party members. But for some reason, no one wanted to join them. It wasn't really shocking, so they begged Ha Ho Mask. They begged him to join them as they protect their romance. Hirkan finds them creepy and yelled at them to fuck off. A few moments later, our boy defeated them and told them that he doesn't care about the romance bullshit. He made it clear that he doesn't plan on working with anyone. He threatened to kill them when they followed him again. And he left. The guys were sad that they got rejected because he was their last hope. They thought that they should just give up on Purung Forest. One of them asked the captain if he remembers the Toon family from last time. The captain recalled that they were the party who hung them on a tree because they found them to be creepy. The man informed them that they were requesting help. That was surprising news. Meanwhile, a monster wreaks havoc. It made a loud sound. Hirkan was ready to challenge it along with the skeletons. He targeted the head and chopped it off. He had defeated the Black Gore and gained some experience points. That was his 55th kill. Since he already faced the Spirit Knight, most monsters became too easy for him now. The movements of those monsters became predictable. But it was a good thing since he was leveling up pretty quickly. Bolka's ranger Ma Wung's request was to find traces of armored monsters in the Purung Forest and report back to Ma Wung. But he couldn't find a hint of armored monsters in the forest. He hasn't even started progressing in the main quest line. He knew he shouldn't be wasting time. He's certain that the top 30 guilds have also started the main quest line. And it was only a matter of time before they caught up to him. He wondered if he should have asked for some information from the R2 guys. But remembering how they act, he'd rather die than work together with those guys. Suddenly, an explosion happened. He wondered who would do that. They could aggro all the monsters. It made him curious what kind of monster gave them that much trouble. Then he realized something. He knew that was it. Meanwhile, a man struggled to block the sword. He had no idea what those guys were. The monsters were armored, so he couldn't attack them properly. Plus, they formed a battle formation, so it's not like he can just charge in directly. He knew that those guys weren't supposed to be in that area, and the one behind it was an unknown large monster in the back. It was a monster smart enough to be able to command a monster army. They let their guard down and realized that it's something that their family couldn't handle on their own. Someone activated a firewall, and that made the ogres step back. Those guys asked if their captain was okay. They realized that the Toon family was pretty much wiped out, and they don't think they can hold on for much longer either. One of them suggested running away because if it continues, they might die. The captain knew that their chances of beating it were slim, so he considered the suggestion. Not until he heard someone begging for help. He recalled the time that he was the one asking for help, and people just left them. The R2 family only had each other. He made up his mind. He ordered them to use all their remaining mana to secure an escape route for the Toon family. His decision surprised the other two men. He told them that they had experienced what it's like for people to abandon them when they most need help. After knowing that, he knew he shouldn't abandon those people. He told them that he'd hold off the monsters while those guys would go help them. He won't allow them to get past them. He slashed them, and thought that things were already doing well. But the monster counterattacked and hit him. His cheek was bruised, and his whole body was in pain. He realized that what he did wasn't enough. The monster was about to step on him. Unexpectedly, someone told him to stop trying to look cool, and he slashes the monster's foot. It was Hey-Ho Mask. He clarified one thing, that he's not there to help him. He was just there so that they wouldn't steal his monsters. Our MC then summoned the skeletons and made them attack. The skeletons slashed those ogres. The captain of the R2 family couldn't believe that his family moved that way. What he witnessed was beyond what a normal necromancer would be capable of. It made him intrigued on who Hey-Ho Mask truly is. Blood gushed out from the monster's wound, and eventually, it fell. Several monsters had been taken down. After defeating those armored ogres, Hurkan had obtained experience points, and now that he's done with the small fries, he called the attention of the monster at the back and asked if it was sad that its underlings were gone. He promised that he will send it to them soon enough. The monster growled at him, but before Hurkan made a move, he ordered his skeletons to move the man aside as if it was a hindrance. The monster stomped its foot. Hurkan watched it. It was a level 80 helm ogre. The R2 family was nearby and worried for him. They think it was a stretch even for him. Then the captain noticed a guy from the Toon family. The guy told them to look at the eyes of the ogre. Its eyes were marbling in black and red, which means it's a corrupt monster related to the main quest line. And usually corrupt monsters were 3 times stronger than normal ones. So even if it's the Hey-Ho Mask they were talking about, it's still worrisome. When the Helm Ogre attacked, the ground collapsed. Hurkan could tell its strengths as far from its underlings. The guy from the Toon family told him to stop, that he shouldn't get too close. The monster emits a dark aura, and in a blink of an eye, it closed the gap between them. The guy from the Toon family believes that even Hey-Ho Mask wouldn't be able to handle it. But Hurkan was ready to face it. He focused his strength on his sword, and with a grin on his face, he challenged the Helm Ogre to try stopping his attack. He unleashed it, and it made a hole on the Helm Ogre's body. And when he was done, the Helm Ogre fell face down. Those who watched him were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe that he won. The system then informed him that he had successfully defeated a Helm Ogre and obtained gold, experience points, and had leveled up from it. That was really too easy for him. In addition, he also gained a Helm Ogre's helmet fragment and had satisfied the quest completion requirements. Now, he just had to return to Ma Wung and continue on with the main quest line. But before that, he had to figure out how to split the drops. There were 20 black orcs and 1 Helm Ogre. It will be worth a fortune since it was a rare monster. Usually, the player who attacks the monsters first gets to choose how to split the drops. But the only problem is that he did all the work in this hunt. A few minutes back. Honestly, he waited until they all died. But the captain of the R2 family didn't want to abandon anyone, and that caught his attention. His body started moving on its own after hearing that. They approached him and thanked him. He was glad that at least they're grateful. But they told him that they couldn't just let him go. Hurkan had expected that. He knew nothing matters more than money, but it wasn't what they wanted. They fought each other just to get a picture with him. He was so confused. The captain explained that they were taking selfies as proof that they were there during the raid. He asked them if they didn't want to split the drops. The captain thought about it. He asked the Toon family if they need any of the drops. The man was about to reply yes, since it was worth a fortune. But the captain intimidated him, and guilt tripped him not to be shameless enough to try to walk away with some of the drops when they were all saved by Hey-Ho Mask. The guy was forced to say that Hey-Ho Mask could take them all. The captain told Hurkan that he could take them all romantically. Hurkan had no idea what the hell romance was to those guys. He doesn't understand them. After that, he set off. He remembered being asked to join the family. Those guys knew they wouldn't be of much help with their skills, but they promised to always have his back. Hurkan thought that even if they look like idiots, it would be fun to play the game with them. But if he were to do that, he'd never become the best version of himself, because someone like him would be going against the top 30 guilds. He told the skeletons that they will move faster, so they could finish the damn quest and move on to the next one. Meanwhile, a warrior bear was attacked. The Thunder Hunter Guild had taken it down. Sari thinks that it was too easy. Hahui called out to her. Hahui sang praises for her. Hatch informed her that they have something to report. First, the two of the top 30 guilds had started a war. The guilds involved were the Triple Wing Guild and the Big Smile Guild. It all began when Burke, an officer of the Big Smile Guild, started a fight with a Triple Wing Guild member when they ran into each other during a raid. Since then, the two guilds have been pouring an enormous amount of resources into the war. The Big Smile Guild especially has taken the hardest hit. A war during such an important period of the main quest line was foolish. She hoped that one of them would go down after that. Hatch hesitated telling her about the second news, but he eventually spilled it. That Hey-Ho Mask had defeated the Helm Ogre. He commented that he was always ahead of them for some reason. It made her smile. Hatch was shocked because he was expecting her to be mad. She simply replied that they had to speed things up a bit. He ordered him to the next quest from Ma-Wung. She wanted the Thunder Guild to take over the second chapter of the main quest line. Meanwhile, in Bangsu Castle, Ahimbri had a big smile. He greeted his apprentice. Hirkan felt irked that he's back with him. Ahimbri told him that he heard from Ma-Wung that he carried out his missions well. He wanted him to have an item because he seemed to be qualified. It was the Secret Orders Ring, a unique item that increases stats by plus 77, increased health and mana recovery by 20%, and all job-related stats by plus 22. Hirkan had an annoyed expression when he thought of how everything's going well. Earlier, at Ma-Wung's hut, he expressed that he'd join the Secret Order. Ma-Wung urged him to think it over because he'd be putting his life on the line, but he wasn't afraid to put his life on the line against evil. But deep inside, he knew that if he joins, he'll get the ring that gives him a bunch of stat increases. Ma-Wung accepted his answer. He was anticipating that he would give him the ring, but instead, he told him to find his teacher again. That made him pale. He asked why. Ma-Wung responded that Ahimbri was also a member, and he'll be the one to give the emblem. Hirkan felt cornered. He expected to receive it for free, but now Ahimbri teases him by saying, "Please, give it to me, teacher." He placed his hand on the ground, and the sudden movement surprised Ahimbri. He told him that if he thinks that it's going to work every time, then he's correct. He said the words. Ahimbri laughed out loud, but Hirkan had no choice. It was too good of a reward to refuse. He felt so embarrassed, while Ahimbri couldn't stop laughing. While holding his laughter, he told him that he's part of the Secret Order, and he'll give the next mission. What Hirkan needed was a mission that would make him stronger. That's why he's sending him to the battlefield next. Hirkan was surprised to hear that. It was a place swarming with ferocious monsters. A few hours later, he arrived at the place, the battlefield. It was an endless stream of monsters coming from beyond the castle walls. The monsters kept swarming continuously for a limited time, which makes it more dangerous than regular raids, and he will be rewarded based on how many monsters he kills. So he had the potential to earn a lot of money from it. He was to defeat the monsters coming from beyond the walls of Turb Castle. The reward was a reward rank determined on the number of monsters defeated. He had been wanting to come there since before he reincarnated, but he couldn't, because the guild members didn't want to come. So he's excited. But first, he had to do some preparations. Little did he know, someone had been watching him. This one had started connecting to someone, and she reported that she found Ha-Ho Mask. Meanwhile, Ejang and Iljang were struck down, and Wang Jian has been terrified of the tiger. He begged to be spared. But the man on the throne was mad that they couldn't even deal with a single rookie, and they came back with nothing. This man was Apollo, the guild master of the Apollo Guild. He was really fat. Wang Jiang even called him Piggy. Then Wang Jiang explained that the Thunder Hunter suddenly interfered so he couldn't do anything, and that the guild was trying to recruit him to them. Apollo thinks that he's acting arrogant because the top 30 guilds have his back. If that was the case, he decided to use it against him. Then a phone rang. Apollo called Heavybean, the officer of the Big Smile Guild, one of the top 30 guilds. He sighed as he wondered what the fat idiot wanted this time. He answered the call to ask. Apollo wanted to ask for a favor. He wants him to teach the player named Hey-Ho Mask a lesson. That surprised him since it was the rookie who's been on the rise recently. He asked why. Apollo was furious and shared that the guy dared to lay his hand on his guild and didn't even apologize. So in other words, Hirkan made a fool out of him. Heavy Bean didn't expect that. The reason wasn't much of a big deal. He apologized that he couldn't do that. He explained that a big guild like the Big Smile shouldn't be getting involved in such petty affairs. Apollo had no choice but to threaten them to stop sponsoring them. He reminded them that it was thanks to his sponsorship that Big Smile was able to become one of the top 30 guilds. So if they can't listen to such a small favor, it means that he had no reason to keep sponsoring them. It made Heavy Bean angry. He screamed his name, but then changed his attitude. He sided with him and accepted the favor. He told him that he would contact him once he had taken care of it. When the call ended, he cursed out loud. Rejecting it would cost them too much, and attacking Ha-Ho Mask will ruin the guild's image. He complained that everyone is trying to make life harder than it already was. Someone came in and asked if he needed her help. He recognized her. She asked if she just needed to eliminate Ha-Ho Mask. It was Cho Woo-rung, the reserve affiliate of the Big Smile Guild. Heavy Bean realized that if he left it up to her, who wasn't an official member of the guild yet, he could do without harming the image of the guild. He asked her if she could do it. She assured him that he could trust her with it. She feels that she owes her life to him, and in order to repay him, she would definitely eliminate Ha-Ho Mask. Meanwhile, Herkun had heard the soldier announce that all participants shall report to the castle gate immediately. The crowd gathered, and someone with an axe called their attention. He told them that they will be opening the gates, so they better be prepared. This blonde guy was the captain of Turbay Castle Wall Management, Bagel. He was the main NPC. He briefed everyone that outside the walls is a lawless zone where monsters roam freely. The castle gates will only reopen after 144 hours, and they will be rewarded based on how many monsters they hunt down in that time. He made sure to inform them that the gates won't reopen until the time limit, so they must keep that in mind. And additionally, he gave them all a special mission. They would have to defeat the Blue Giant, a mutant that appears on the battlefield. The reward was a unique skill book. Hirkan was surprised. He didn't expect the reward to be a skill book. A unique skill book is an item that grants him a unique rank skill. He only saw it a couple of times even in his past life, and now they're giving it as a reward. He glanced at others. To him, it was too much. He saw the fierce expression from the other people. They wanted it, so they thought of eliminating the competition. They recognized the strongest among them. It was Hirkan. Hirkan knows it's not a matter of whether he can defeat the Blue Giant or not. Bagel told them to prepare, and he announced the gates to open. As soon as he did, Hirkan dashed away to beat everyone to it. They were all surprised. The other participants learned that Hirkan found out their plan. He scurried to chase after him, but someone told them to wait. She suggested that she had a good idea, and that was to team up. It was Woo-rung. The guy looked down on her because she was just a newbie. He took offense at her suggestion because he was prideful. He told her to fuck off. In a blink of an eye, she made him bleed. Everyone was shocked. She asked why they're on edge. Then she realized it must be because of the unique skill book. She told them that she doesn't really care about it. She just needed to kill Ha-Ho Mask. Then she suggested another thing, that if they listened to her, she would give them the unique skill book. She added that they won't get any skill book with their levels anyway, so it's not a bad deal for them. With that, they left the castle gates while someone spied on them. Herkun was irked that they really grouped up just to kill him. It was such a pain in the ass. He was already busy with the monsters, and now he has to deal with them too. He had no choice but to choose a specific plan. Woo-rung was lucky to have gathered that crowd. She doubted that Ha-Ho Mask could do much against numbers. Like that. She started thinking about what she would do after killing him. Once she successfully pulls it off, Heavy Bean will acknowledge her, and she'll be able to join the Big Smile Guild as an official member. Then, she will have her own subordinates. She expects some fans too. She also imagined being served with tea, and having her own male harem. To her, they were like furniture, and she could have as much as she wanted. She was taken out of fantasy when someone called out to her to tell her that the monsters were approaching. She ordered them to go in formation so they could deal with it one by one. One guy felt something was off, because there were too many monsters compared to normal. She knew they wouldn't be able to maintain their formation. She started to be suspicious. Then she saw Ha-Ho Mask riding a golem. Herkun was annoyed that they dared to group against him. So, being the lunatic that he is, He rang a bell loudly while wishing those idiots to get fucked. She couldn't believe him. He actually lured the monsters there. It was right here when she realized that she messed up with the wrong person. A crazy gamer at that. Thank you all for watching. Please watch this next Giga Chad video, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, support the channel by joining the Summon Club membership. You can also support by just liking the video and being awesome.